All right, I'm kind of trying to like lean back on this chair.
Oh yeah, do whatever you want.
Is that good? I saw Mike Dwyer was just like he had like his feet up and everything.
Yeah, dude. I was appreciated how comfortable he got so quickly. I was like, wow,
he's a comfortable guy. I wish I could be as comfortable as he is.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Not all of us can be.
Is this like awkward? Do I look like I'm like uncomfortable right now?
No. Okay. I always worry that I look uncomfortable because I like the way I have to fucking sit. I don't have an arm yet for this mic. So I'm like sitting at the edge of this chair and I'm constantly
like a comedian who just has like the
yeah, I'm trying to keep my posture good.
I have terrible posture. It's fine.
Me too, man.
Yeah, dude.
I have really shitty posture. My posture is like, for one, I have 15% scoliosis. I know that for a fact because I was lucky enough to have a mother who like helped me when I was younger, and I even went to physical therapy for a little bit, and they were helping me with that. But
are we like going?
We can be.
Sure.
Folks, this is episode 124 of Ruse Radio. Welcome to episode 124. We have a very special guest here. Special guest. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Brian Miklas.
Brian Miklas. And Brian Miklas, who the hell are you?
I guess I'm a comedian. You could call me that.
You guess so?
Yeah. Well, you know.
How long ago did you start comedy?
It's going to be 2 years in March.
2 years in March. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Feels good. I feel like I'm finally starting to,
Seems like it would take a while before you feel that way, right?
It's starting to pay off a little bit. I'm starting to do shows and like more shows and stuff.
I saw you have some show this Saturday, like some
weed show.
Some weed show. Yeah. What's that all about?
I have no. Do you know what's funny? I messaged that guy, and like he just like I messaged him a clip saying because he posted something about Facebook, like about like we need comedians for the show. And that he never messaged me back, whatever. I look on Facebook one day and it just like posted like the poster with my name on it. So I literally, and he just
like, I guess I'm a part
it's at
of
like
it.
a secret location in Wicker Park.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally do not know what it is. I mean, the lineup's good. It's Sam Rossi. You know who that is? He's a funny guy.
Not familiar. No.
Okay. This guy Jason Acevedo.
Yeah, I was looking at the profiles of the other people on there.
Yeah,
I was checking them out. Yeah.
That Jason dude has like 10,000 Instagram followers or something like that. Yeah, big time.
10,000.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed too on like the poster, it said like previous people who had performed there. And
Ken
it was
Flores.
Like some big names.
Yeah, Ken Flores did that. You know who that is? That
No.
big dude.
I gotta let the cat.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What's your cat's name?
Mark.
Nice.
Sam Flores, you say?
Ken Flores.
Cam Flores.
Sorry, Ken.
My
bad. I have a little bit of a speech impediment. I got hit a lot when I was younger. I used to do MMA and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Brendan Schaub.
Oh, dude. What's the name of his special? I forget. Fuck. I forget what it's called. Gringo Poppy. That's what it's called.
The greatest comedy special of all time.
Jesus Christ. That guy gets so much hate. I saw him live before.
Did you?
Yeah, just like yeah. You know David Lucas, the comedian?
Yes.
Yeah, he opened for him. This was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. David Lucas crushed and Brendan Schaub went up and fucking ate shit for 45 minutes. Yeah, it was rough.
Brendan Schaub is like an interesting character study, because he was MMA at first, right? That was what he was going to do.
Well, he was like an actual, like a legit fighter. He was a competitive fighter. Like he wasn't, people talk shit about his career. Like he was like some really shitty fighter. He was like,
I never saw his fighting.
He was ranked. Like he was like the top 10 heavyweight for a while there.
He was pretty good.
I mean, if you're in the UFC, that means you're pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But comedy wise, it's awful.
So what? Because I've seen that. I'm sure like most people who've seen Brendan Schaub have seen that clip of Joe Rogan like telling him
to retire. Yeah.
I feel like that's where the idea comes from.
Yeah, that was like after his last fight because I guess he fought some dude and he got his ass beat. And Rogan was telling him, he's like, you should retire because like you have one foot out the door. He was already doing comedy. He had like, the Fighter and the Kid, like the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brian Callen.
Yeah. I've seen Brian Callen a few times too. I actually like Brian Callen a lot. He's funny.
I like Brian Callen.
Yeah, I saw him in Milwaukee with my buddies. We were like front row.
Really?
Yeah, he's funny. He's like a goofy guy.
Yeah, Brian Callen is a very he's got like a dad humor. That's why I like him.
Like he just does a lot of like moving around and like he's goofy. Like he's funny. He's funny.
It seems like there's a lot of comedians like that where it seems like that's their general personality, but they just found a way to tap into it and exaggerate it.
Yeah. He used to be like an actor, and then he just became a comedian. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was on Mad TV. Yeah.
Like Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
I know him, Bobby Lee. There's another guy who he's doing the Dudesy podcast is what it's called, but I'm forgetting his name.
Will Sasso?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was also
Will Sasso's really funny. Yeah.
Yep.
You know Chris D'Elia?
Yeah.
So Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, and Will Sasso used to have like a podcast together.
What was that called?
It's called like the 10-minute podcast. They do like 10-minute. It was just like 10 minutes at a time. But they was like, they have really good chemistry together, I think. Chris D'Elia is like, he kind of fell off because he got like accused of like you remember that?
Yeah.
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 And Brian Callen too got accused of shit.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yes, I
he
remember
had to
that.
leave Fighter and the Kid.
And it made it funny because was that after Chris D'Elia?
I think it was like right after, yeah.
Because I remember when the Chris D'Elia thing happened, it was Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Brendan Schaub's
they were like
crying.
it was like, it was like Brian Callen. He had like bruises under his eyes because he got like surgery on his face for them. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. That's hilarious.
But you know, man, it is what it is.
Yeah, I used to listen to Fighter and the Kid like way back in the day, but now it's unlistenable. Like the YouTube videos get like 10,000 views now. Like they used to be in the millions.
What happened?
I think people just got sick of it. I don't know, man. People fucking hate Brendan Schaub though. I kind of feel bad for that guy in a way.
Yeah, no, Brendan Schaub. It's funny, but it's also like, dude, it's just a good example of how the internet is just so toxic.
Oh,
because,
dude, yeah, like he's so hated, man.
Yeah, and in a normal everyday room, no one's gonna fucking treat him like that.
Exactly, because he's also a fighter, so he'll fuck you up.
Well, and just like people aren't like that. Like,
no, yeah,
you can say anything behind a computer or in a comment section, but like if you're next to the guy, you're not just gonna talk shit.
That's like the whole thing, right? Like if you see somebody, you'll like ask him for a picture, or be like, hey, like I'm a big fan. Like, can I have your, can I take a picture with you? And then like later on, like you'll be like, oh, this guy sucks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the internet allows people to do that in a way that they never could before.
Oh, yeah.
to a huge magnified extent. And it's a good example of like the psyche, at work. Like that's what a person would do if there's no consequences.
Right. Or it's like the Mike Tyson shit. Like the internet has made you guys way too comfortable with just talking shit. You won't get punched in the face or whatever.
Has Mike Tyson said
There's
that?
like some famous quote like that, yeah. Because it's true, man. Because people can just, if you say shit to people's face, they're going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
But then you could just call somebody a bitch or whatever on YouTube comments or Instagram. It's like, it is toxic, I feel like.
Yeah.
But you kind of need it these days.
Well, and I think with Brendan Schaub in particular, though, it's more than like there's a whole fucking subreddit just dedicated to talking shit about the guy. I don't think anybody else has that level.
Yeah. The Joe Rogan subreddit kind of has become just the hate subreddit.
Has it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising just because of the difference between him and Schaub is like I at least feel like Joe's got an incredible amount of organic support, like from the get-go.
I mean, he's like the biggest guy in the world right now, basically.
Yeah.
Like, dude, yeah.
Yeah. Truly, like, that was... I found Joe Rogan around, like, 2013, 2014. And, it sucks because of the way that he's become a divisive figure, but truly he's not one.
I think since COVID, that's when it happened, because like all the shit about the vax and like all this stuff.
Yep, and then he became the hangman of that whole thing. Like he became the guy where everybody could point at him and say, "Fuck you,
right.
you're the reason this is." Everybody wants a boogeyman. Everybody wants somebody to hate.
Because he used to be like this like weed, cool kind of like hippie guy.
Yeah,
and then he basically just became like a Republican kind of like gun owner kind of dude. So like people who. Like a lot of people don't like that he like switched his whole thing.
But the truth is, I don't know how much of it really switched. Like the basis of him has always just kind of been. It's almost like more libertarian than anything. Like it was just kind of, hey, like let everybody kind of do what they want. The government can do good things, but also don't trust the government. Like these are all things he's always said.
But then also like having Elon Musk on, and then like Donald Trump and all that shit. So it became like a thing of like there's a lot of people who like just don't fuck with him anymore.
Yeah, which I it's sad to me just because dude's like one of the like I really think he was probably one of my like role models in the sense that I think he's a lot of people's role model. And how do you become a role model for so many people? How is that even possible? Here's one possible avenue. one simple direction. You become a professional mind blower. You blow their minds, and eventually you're going to change them over. You're going to shift them into one of us. They become a professional mind blower. That's right, folks. We got t-shirts. Buy a t-shirt. Let everybody know that you are a professional mind blower because you are, and if not, become one today and let the people know that's what you are. $25. We got smalls, we got mediums, we got larges, and we can make more sizes if you so please. Great way to support the show. And if you want to support the show but you don't want to buy a t-shirt, well, there's one other way I can tell you about, a simple way, an amazing way, a mind-blowing way, and it is Patreon, folks. You can directly support us with $5 a month or more if you're feeling generous. $5, that's the price of a coffee, the price of a beer at the bar, and you are making this show possible. So please consider it. It is what we need to keep this train a-moving. We're pulling in people all the time. I'm talking an episode every 3 days. And if you look on the screen, you can see some of our patrons we got now. You could join that list. You could be on that screen. I mean, I'm just telling you, folks, life's full of opportunities. But role models, why would I say that the Roadster is a role model? Dudes don't really have a whole bunch of like figures like that to even really look out for, other than these people like this, like fucking. Now the internet's provided these avenues with like people like Sam Harris, people like Lex Friedman, people like Jordan Peterson, people like, anybody like that who's at least like providing some type of moral guidance and some type of I don't know, like leadership values to people. Like people need those.
Right.
And instead like that shit's demonized and people look at all these people as like the bad guys.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. Because like in my mind, they're all just people. I don't even think about it that way.
I used to listen to Rogan, but then somewhere along the line, I think after COVID too, it's like it feels like every single episode he would just be like, California and the vaccines and like all this shit. Just like I can't. Like I think he's cool. I used to listen I was listening like 10 years ago when it was still like kind of like he would get guests and people would be like, oh, he got, who was? I remember he got like Jay Leno on or like Lance Armstrong on. People were like, whoa, he got him. Now it's like you wouldn't be surprised if he got on anybody. But I just can't listen anymore. Like I haven't listened for a few years now.
Yeah,
it's just too, every fucking episode is just like, oh, California and the vax and fucking just like, it's just, all right. It feels like it's so repetitive. How can you not repeat yourself when you talk for 2,000 episodes, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of the tough part too, right? Is how do you not repeat yourself? Because someone like him is interesting in that too, where it's like he has kind of become like this weird caricature of himself in that you can expect him to talk about X, Y, and Z.
Well, there's like the whole like the Joe Rogan bingo board when he like brings up like DMT or like I got a buddy who does this. Like he always says, I have a buddy who this. Like there's like a whole thing.
You'll hear him say like that, not to look at comment sections, and I'm sure it's because people say shit like this. Like I feel like at some point he must have looked at a comment section and got annoyed by it and said, I can't be looking at this.
To be honest though, if you're that guy, who cares what people say about you? Because you're also worth basically like what, $1 billion at this point.
Yeah.
Like, why would you even? It's funny. A lot of people don't even know he does stand-up comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like a funny thing. People like, I forget who was on there. They were talking to him. He's like, oh, like you do comedy too? And he like, you could tell he was kind of like disappointed. He's like, because people just know him as a podcast guy or as like the Fear Factor guy. His comedy is pretty. The last one I heard was bad, but
on the Netflix special he did.
Yeah, where he's wearing like the yellow shirt where he looks like Arthur.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but I've heard that it was bad. He has one from like 2006 or 7. It's called like Shiny Happy Jihad. It's about like because a lot of their material is about like the Iraq war and shit. I like that special a lot. But like, yeah, I don't know. Some of them are just, he's not the best comic, But he gets a lot of hate for his comedy too.
He does get a lot of hate for his comedy. And see, I just think like I like him more as a podcaster than a comedian. I could say that. I really do think, just because I think like what he does with podcasting, even though he does all that, he does do that shit you're saying. He does bring up the same topics and he does all that. But he has at least a gift for getting people to show a side of them that maybe they wouldn't normally even know how to show.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a real gift. And he was one of the first people to really do it. So, as a podcaster, he's fucking super gifted. In my opinion.
Of course. I'm not trying to talk shit. I like Joe Rogan. He's cool.
Oh,
I just can't listen to it anymore.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I just, it's like one of those things. It's just like, I don't know. I listened to the Trump episode though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Dude.
Because it was like, it's like one of those things. Like
historic.
yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like that kind of. You know what's interesting about that at the very least is he is kind of like a trailblazer. When he even had Bernie on, that was a big deal. When he had Bernie on back in, I think it was like 2020, that was the first time he had really done that, or anyone he had really
then
done
he
that.
endorsed them, and then like there was like a whole backlash too, saying, oh, you know, and then that's, some people say that's what lost Bernie the primary.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, the thing that's so crazy about all of that shit, dude,
They
is
stole
like,
it from him.
They stole it from him.
The DNC
exactly.
or whatever, the super delegates. Yeah, they stole it from him.
Obama
Poor
made
guy.
some phone calls, brother.
Poor
and
guy.
It's like, what the fuck, dude? To me, like, that's one of the things that really started my disillusion with everything. Is like, okay, so Bernie can get all of this organic support, and they'll still fuck him over. And you know what makes me even more upset about all that is Bernie kind of has rolled over since then, and now he doesn't really quite do all that shit anymore. Now it's just kind of like, you know, he's just kind of going with whatever, and then fucking Kamala loses, and now he's saying that we need to make a change again. It's like, bro, like, I like Bernie a lot in 2016. I
even in 2020, I think some people thought he was gonna win over Biden.
Yeah, dude. I thought
They say he robbed him. They robbed him twice.
I think they.
So I know about the first one. I don't know. I haven't been paying too much attention. But yeah, Bernie he's a cool dude. It's like, I like whatever like people think he's like a socialist and shit or whatever, right? I think I like him because like whatever you think about him, right, or whatever his views, he's had the same views forever. You know what I'm saying? Like he was arrested, you know, like that picture of him where he's getting arrested for like civil rights in like the 60s or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Like that's, you know, he's a cool dude.
I think what really happened is somebody probably took him behind closed doors around 2020, sometime like that, and said, "Listen, you got to cut all this revolution shit out.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna fucking suicide you unless you, The CIA came and talked to him."
And I'm sure it's probably something like that, because you're right. He's been like that forever. And I think like it just got to a breaking point where you can't, dude. Who fucking knows with people like that? Because you can only have. I think it's becoming more and more evident the more and more you look at all this shit. Like, there's not really much room for grassroots support. There's not really much room for people to come out of the woodworks that don't have millions of dollars already or some type of famous name. Like in America, you're told anybody can be president. Anybody can go out there and be president, but that's not necessarily
You can't
true.
even be mayor if you don't have money of your fucking little shitty town, let alone be president of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Chicago, you grew up here in Chicago. I'm sure you guys know all about government corruption because that's what Chicago's all about.
Yeah.
It's basically Gotham City up in here, you know. I mean, what was that previous mayor's name?
The last one?
Yeah.
Lightfoot?
Dude, she literally looks like a character from Batman.
Yeah.
Lori Lightfoot.
And then
That is my spirit animal.
The guy
right
before
there.
that, Rahm Emanuel, his brother is like the most famous, like one of the richest agents in Hollywood. He's like basically a billionaire.
The Emmanuel, that name sounds really
Rahm
familiar.
Emanuel.
But I mean, and it's just, I think it's one of those things where it can only go on for so long. Like it's just, who the fuck knows how that story ends? But it's just crazy that it's gotten this far with just no way for people to actually develop anything different than what we have. Like you basically get two shitty decisions every single 4 years. You never really get any real offer of change. And then when you do, it's still like got this huge tinge of like, okay, but is he being for real?
Yeah.
Or is he just saying that?
I think you're starting to see it though with like what happened with the CEO shooter guy, Luigi, whatever. Like you're starting to see, like, I don't think, like a few years ago, I don't think like you could be as open as people are now, just like supporting him. Yeah. But there's like such a divide between like the poor people and like the rich now that just like people are just openly saying like, oh, like I love him, I'm glad he did it, whatever. Whereas like I think 20 years ago, I don't think that would have really been happening. You know what I mean? But there's such a divide now with like society and shit, you know.
And I think again, it goes.
It's only getting worse. It's only getting deeper. Yeah. There's gonna be there's like you could feel like you were saying, the revolution kind of is like starting up a little bit.
But you know, like you know the phrase, the revolution won't be televised.
Right.
Like the way that I look at that is like, especially now, like the way that if there were a revolution, it would be depicted as an act of terrorism.
Exactly.
Like, and so a lot of the people who go with whatever this narrative might be will believe that was an act of terrorism. And so I don't even know how it happens. I don't even know how it really plays out. you know, and with our country being so broken too, now then you have the threat of like world wars, and you have the threat of people coming in and taking advantage of the country being so broken up and divided. And dude, it wouldn't take much to fucking.
Oh yeah, dude.
We got shit flying in the sky in other parts of the country, and where the government's saying it's not in the sky
or whatever. Yeah,
They're saying it's not there.
Yeah.
They're straight up. They'll gaslight you in public now. So it's crazy, dude. I don't even fucking know. It makes me wonder, like, what does it take? Because even dude, I wish I could remember his name, but there's been people who have come around and they've promised revolution, and then these people get fucking shot. I mean, even everyone knows Martin Luther King was killed by the government. Mm-hmm. We know that.
JFK.
Yeah.
He wanted to ban the CIA, or like he wanted to, or like what's that speech? But talking about getting rid of secret societies or whatever, and they fucking iced him. Yeah.
And that was not too long after, wasn't it Eisenhower with the whole government, the whole...
Maybe that's who it was. Yeah. The military-industrial complex. Yeah. Or
he was warning about it. That was the beginning of it. He was saying, hey, there's this thing that's starting. It's not looking good.
Yeah. Or just look at like Malcolm X, or like the dude from the Black Panthers.
Yep.
What's his name? Fred Hampton or whatever?
That's what I was thinking of. Fred Hampton.
Yeah. They came in... He was from Chicago. They came into his house and just shot him. And they say that... Like, they made up a story saying he pointed a gun at him. He didn't even have a gun or whatever. He just came and shot him like 10 times.
The revolution won't be televised, right? Like, these people come around and they are starting real change, and then they get taken out. And it really makes you wonder, like, what the fuck does it take? Like, what is it really... especially now, because now the power is in the hands... It's, again... Everything's so divisive. So, like, say someone like Elon Musk goes out and buys Twitter in the name of free speech. Maybe he's doing that for real, or maybe that's even a political move, and he's just buying Twitter to make it look like he's on the side of all these right-wing guys. It's really hard to tell, because if you were the rich guy, of course you would want to play to a certain crowd in order to make it look like you're a cool dude.
Yeah.
And then now that's his whole character. And just like fucking Joe Rogan being the guy who you kind of know what he's going to say. Same thing with Elon Musk. You already know how Elon Musk's stance is going to be on every single topic because he's become that guy, that caricature of whatever that is.
It's funny because like you remember how he was like beloved like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
People like really liked him. They thought he's so smart, and SpaceX and Tesla. Now it's like people fucking hate the guy now. Like they think he's such a piece of shit. It's funny how that changes, man.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
I really think like
buying Twitter was like the main... That's when it started to change, I think.
Yeah. Because it was so closely tied with
like left
COVID and misinformation. It was all of that shit all at once. Because what he was buying Twitter for was to combat this whole you can't say certain things on the internet thing. At least that's what he claimed he was buying
free
it
speech
for.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's like still banning people for saying certain things about him and stuff,
Exactly, dude.
It's all just hypocrite, like,
Exactly. And it's like, if free speech is going to be your principle, then you gotta go all the way. You just can't say completely illegal shit. You just can't go out
like
there.
Bomb in an airport type of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Because
if you want to say the N-word, you can say it on Twitter. There's a lot of that on Twitter.
I bet
X
there
or
is.
Whatever, Porn. That's like the one place that has porn.
It's been like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been like that even before he took it over.
But still.
But like, cause like Instagram, Facebook, what else? Even like Snapchat, everything. But like Twitter's always had porn.
Yeah.
Which is cool because if you're like a porn star, that's like the one place you can actually post actual videos instead of just like thirst traps or whatever. I mean, that's free speech right there. If you want to talk about free speech,
it is free speech.
Yeah. There's
all those OnlyFans girls are.
I mean, yeah, dude. Oh, hey, that's a real business model.
It is.
Props to OnlyFans girls. Because people hate on them so much these days. I feel like, I don't know. Good for them, dude. If I was a chick, I swear to God, I've said this to my friends before. If I was a hot chick, I would never work a day again in my life. I would just be an OnlyFans girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it. But just because of the I wouldn't want to be objectified in such a way.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want it. I would be like, I'd rather be recognized for my talents.
Yeah. I was going to say, what do you think people are doing when you rap and they're objectifying you a little bit somehow?
I'm always objectified.
Yeah.
I'm the white rapper.
That's the thing, too. People say, oh, like, I don't judge people, whatever. People are constantly judging people, like, whether they think they are or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Based on just what they're wearing, how they're talking, how they're like, how they look, how their hair look, whatever. Like, you're constantly judging people.
So then the question would be, do you think judgment is good or bad? Like, do you think it's inherently good or inherently bad, or both?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just natural. I think it's like you just look at somebody, you just certain things pop up. Just because like what's that thing? People have like there's like some study or not some study, some like shit that came out saying like 50% of people have an inner monologue. So then people are saying, so what does that mean? 50% of people are just walking around like not thinking anything the whole time. It's like if you're always thinking something, whether you're just like walking, you have feeling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you see somebody, you can't help but be like, oh, this guy is, you know, his pants are too big, or like he has a beard, or he's, you know, he has bags under his eye, whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're constantly judging people.
And I think you're supposed to. Yeah, I think it's natural. I think if you think about it, like even in an evolutionary sense,
right?
Like,
well, that's what they say about like racism or whatever.
Yeah.
Is like people will say like oh, you know, like if there's like one person that sticks out, it's natural to like kind of like not, well, you know what I mean? Like it comes from like biology when people, you know what I mean?
In what way?
I don't want to sound like a racist. I'm not. No. But I've heard people like the way that it's explained is like it, you know, because like back in the old days or whatever, like back in like caveman days, if there'd be like, I don't know.
I think it's right.
You know what I'm trying to say though?
I know
like,
exactly what you're saying.
Like
I think it would be
pattern
hardwired.
recognition.
So think about it this way. It's like a tribalism thing. It's like if I'm in a group and you're in a group and our groups are separated.
And then one person just sticks out of the group.
Yeah.
Like everyone realizes that. So then they treat him differently.
Yep. Yeah.
It sounds like I'm trying to justify racism. That's not what I'm just. What it like? Yeah. It just.
Well, I think the only way. What's important about that though is the only way you're ever gonna change somebody or even fucking get them to understand your way of looking at it is by understanding them, right? So if you like fucking people don't just wake up and be racist. People don't just wake up. No,
that's true. That's true. That's true.
They don't do that. Yeah. They end up at that place. Yeah. Through experiences and through, usually they were taught that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like someone they knew told them that's the way shit works.
Usually it's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking, it sucks. It sucks that happens. But the only way you're never going to get through to them by being like, hey, you asshole, you're a piece of shit. There's, one person that's like I always thought was super cool for that was I think his name's Daryl Davis. If you ever heard of him,
the guy who like would transition the KKK people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was a black guy who would become best friends with KKK members and transition them out of it. And all the other members would get pissed off at these guys, like, why are you hanging out with him? And they're like, he's a cool dude. I don't know what to tell you. I like him.
Yeah, KKK. That's so stupid.
It's so stupid, but someone like him can at least highlight the humanity of it and that, you know, there's still hope for those people. Those people don't have to be that way forever.
Yeah. I think like because in the days like these days, you have people who are like, if someone's like if you're like a, you know, like a left wing progressive person, you'll say like, oh, I don't even want to hang out with a Republican. I don't even want to hear what they have to say, whatever. Where like that guy is like literally going in, like trying to talk to them, figure out where they're coming from. Even though everyone would almost agree that they're in the wrong.
Yep.
But at least he's still trying to go like figure out like, okay, what's your perspective? Why are you like this? Whatever. And then he flips them around. Because if his perspective was like, oh, like fuck these racists, I don't even want to go talk to them. Then it's like he would have never changed them in the first place. That's like, I think that there's like, I get it though. Because like some people say like, oh, like there's no discourse anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like two people can't just meet and talk, debate anymore. Because like one person can end up freaking out or saying like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no more debate anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like
we're so divided as a country, man.
I think a lot of it is manufactured, really. Like I think that we've gotten to a point where I don't know how much of it is like egged on by some like imaginary force or how much of it is just the result of fucking the fact that human nature is to be more inclined towards hatred, and now we have social media to help us inflict that upon one another. Right. Back to Brendan Schaub, right?
Like it's all like every discussion you see is just like one person saying, oh, you piece of shit Republican.
Yep.
Like whenever the other person saying, oh, you libtard.
I've had friends from high school who like I remember it was after high school was over and I would post shit on Facebook and they would talk to me like I'm a fucking monster, dude. And I'm like, dude, we were friends. Like I don't have any hatred for you. Why are you? What's that?
Like what kind of shit?
Dude, okay.
You don't have to talk about it.
I try not to reveal my political leanings too much, okay? But when I remember when fucking so during like 2020 and all this shit goes down, I remember I'm just thinking like the conspiracy theorist in my brain is seeing all of this going like, this is how they take over. Like they're gonna take over. They're gonna take all our rights away.
During COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, like, that's another one too, dude. It's like when people talk about like being anti-vax or whatever.
Yeah.
It's now whatever people be like, oh, you're a piece of shit, whatever.
Yep.
And it's like it became a political thing. It basically became like, yeah.
Which is so crazy because Dude, I remember when it was announced. They announced that there's a vaccine released, and it was December of 2020.
Are we going into this? Are we doing this?
I was trying not to. But I remember when they announced it, and I look at my fucking Facebook, and I'm like, holy shit, like, that was really fast. That seems a little too fast. That was the first thing I thought. No one told me to think that. I wasn't following anybody else's opinion. I remember seeing it in December of 2020 and thinking, that doesn't sound right. And then a bunch of other people start saying the same shit as me. And then the government says that we're all criminals. And it's like,
So have you ever gotten the vaccine?
No.
Me too.
Yeah. You have not?
No, never.
Yeah. And we're the bad guys.
And that's like the thing you were going back about Joe Rogan saying how like he always, one of the things he would always say is he has no political home, meaning that like he's a guy who's like, all right, pro-gun, right? Which makes you a Republican in this country. But then he's also pro-gay marriage, pro like drug legalization, which automatically makes you a Democrat in this country. So he has like nowhere, like you were saying, he's a libertarian. So it's like, I feel like with the vaccines, like I'm like socially 100% like, you know, gay marriage, drug legalization, whatever. So I am like a Democrat.
They're progressive in that
way. But just like with the vaccine, I don't know, man. I just didn't get it. And my sister is like a big woke, like liberal kind of person. And like, she was so mad at me for not getting, she's like, oh, you're a piece of shit, whatever. I just like, you know, I don't know, man. And then have you heard like there's like a lot of vaccine regret now? Like people yeah. And then like, cause you hear some of the, and that's the thing too, people don't want to talk about it. You hear some of the stuff coming out saying about like you know, different, and it makes you sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like cancer rates and all this shit going, it's like, man, bro, it's sketchy.
Even
it's
when
sketchy,
like
dude.
there would be these like sudden deaths
It's
and
scary.
shit, and people would say like, the problem is it's so divisive.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's all by design, truly, like I was saying, like I think that it's supposed to be that way, because if we can't discuss whether or not this is or is not this,
Exactly.
then
Like,
how the fuck are we ever going to get anywhere?
It's
you
like,
know?
like you can't even have the discussion about,
So
yeah.
if it's true, say that it's true that there are people who are getting this treatment and then all of a sudden there's these side effects, which, you know, most treatments have side effects. So say that there is this.
This is a hilarious conversation we're having, you guys.
Oh, dude. I mean, you can't even fucking like get anywhere with that, because now it's like, okay, I'm talking to you and I think this and you think this, but like, you think I'm the bad guy. And the thing is, I'm supposed to think you're the bad guy too. I'm supposed to think that if you got vaccinated, you're a piece of shit. And that's what I'm told.
See,
to think.
I've never thought that.
Me neither.
I've never, it's like, but that's like the whole thing they say, oh, you know, like what's, you know, my body, my choice or whatever, but it doesn't apply to that, because it's like, I don't know. We should probably get off this topic, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, truly though, what I think like the only way out of all that shit is if people learn to like talk about things outside of like, okay, for example, I can't remember it's somebody, he's got Sean Ryan, that's his name. He's got a pretty popular podcast now. And I heard him talking about it, and he was saying like, the only way that we're progressive and we actually move forward is if we stop focusing on like individual names and individual things and talk in like principles, right? So don't focus on like Trump, vaccine, COVID, like all this shit. Don't even talk about that. Just talk about the principles of it. And then it's about like universal values and getting people to come together and getting out of the fucking prison that we're all in, dude. Yeah. I guarantee you we can at least all agree we're on our way to being a third world country. Okay? Right. We're getting there. So let's not do that. Right. You know, but how do we do it? I don't know, maybe comedy, right? Maybe comedy is a fun way.
Yeah, so you were saying you read a lot of books, huh?
Yeah, I read a lot of books, dude. I started reading books about, like seriously reading about a little over a year ago.
It's funny, I said read a lot of books. I could have said, so you read. Because like books, that's the thing. These days, someone says, do you read? It's like, like most people just are on like the internet or Facebook or like Reddit, which is not the same. Yeah,
it's not the same at all. That's what I learned, because I was like thinking before I started reading books. I was thinking, like, oh, I can get all this information from YouTube, from wherever. Mm-hmm. But you really like the difference between that and a book is like, dude, most of that stuff on the internet came from a book at one point.
Well, basically everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like most of it was on a book first, and then it came to the internet. And like the thing about a book too is that it's a streamlined version of someone's consciousness almost. Like it's one person sharing all this shit, or it's like even if it's a textbook, it's all this information in one place. And there's something really valuable about that, about being able to open up a book and just spend a couple days reading a book, you know, rather than fucking... I think like when you just see like one article on social media, or you spend like 10 minutes watching a YouTube video, you're processing that information completely fucking differently than if you actually took time out and just read the shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep laughing about just, yeah. Oh, yeah, man, it's true. So who are your favorite authors or whatever? That's
a good question because I don't really know. You know, I haven't, for one, so I started reading seriously like not even that long ago. And if I had to think about it, like...
So did you never read, like, back in the day, like high school or whatever? I went and reread all those, like, that's, like, I started with that. With, like, I went to reread all those, like, classic shit that you read, like, in elementary and high school.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Catcher in the Rye, The Great Gatsby, like, The Outsiders, shit like that. I started with that. Hemingway, stuff like that, yeah.
The classics.
The classics, yeah. I feel like, because there's something to that, Of Mice and Men.
Yep.
The Grapes of Wrath, like stuff like that.
I did read Of Mice and Men in high school.
You did?
We read Animal Farm in high school.
Yeah, 1984.
1984.
Fahrenheit, what is it, 451?
451, yeah. Actually, you know what? I don't think we read 1984. I think we read Fahrenheit 451. I think we read that. Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah. Which, do they still read that? Do they still read 1984 and Fahrenheit 451?
It just has become a reality now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Probably not. Probably somebody said, like, this is too close. This is too close to home.
Isn't that so crazy? Because, like, I remember reading it in school thinking, this shit is nuts. And now it's, like, again, the 2020 me is, like, screaming, like, 1984! Like, just got me. Like, my nightmare is coming true.
Yeah. I started with all those, and I got into, like, a whole point where I was into, like, you know who Jack Kerouac is?
Yeah.
On the Road.
I haven't read his books, but I know who he is.
Yeah. And then like that whole, like there was like this, it's called the Beat Generation. It was like him, this guy, William S. Burroughs, Allen Ginsberg.
Nice.
And I got into like, you know, Hunter S. Thompson, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy. You know, ever heard of Charles Bukowski?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard it. I think I've heard that name.
Yeah.
But what kind of books does he write?
Like it's some novels and like poetry. I like his poetry more than his novels, actually.
Cool.
Yeah. But just... Yeah, I don't know, man. Reading's it's cool. I went through like a whole phase where I was like reading like tons of books.
Did you see when Cat Williams said he read like like a book? What was it, like 10? I forget the number he said. It was 1,000 books in a year.
I love Cat Williams, man. His special. I don't know. Have you ever seen any of his specials?
I've seen his stand up, but I've never seen a full special.
Okay, there's one. I forget the main one where he's like wearing the green suit. You've probably seen like clips of it.
Yeah.
It's called Pimp Chronicles. That's like one of the best specials ever. I think so.
Really?
Yeah, ever. Like ever.
Yeah.
It's the one that has like the Michael Jackson bit at the end. It has the bit about smoking weed. It's like a famous clip. Yeah, that's like.
Cat Williams is one of the best.
Yeah, because a lot of his specials are like very hit or miss though. Some of them are just like because he's put out so many. Like he puts one out every year or two, so some of them are just like not that great. I feel like not to judge or whatever. Obviously, like some people, you know, like they're not rated that great. But that one, I think it's 2003 or 4 is like. I'll put it up there with any other special I've ever seen.
It's kind of like bands, though, you know, like they all have their up and down and up and down.
Well, with bands too, they say like most bands' best albums are within the first 4 albums because like there's like a thing about like they're like young and hungry and like still don't have money.
Yeah.
And then later on, it just becomes like look at Zeppelin. I don't know if are you a Led Zeppelin person?
Yeah. I like a lot of classic rock. Yeah.
Like what kind of bands are you into?
Shit, dude. Led Zeppelin's great. Pink Floyd, fucking phenomenal. Not classic rock, but Tool's awesome. What other shit? Rolling Stones, great.
Yeah.
All kinds of shit. I like most shit.
I was just gonna say, like, even Zeppelin is like their first. I think they have like 8 or 9 studio albums. Their first 5 albums are amazing, and then it kind of just slowly starts to like, you know, because they just weren't. They're just it's the same with comedians. Like that's like a lot. That's like the whole stereotype is like they're young. They have perspective. You know what I mean? And then like they get famous, and then their specials are just about like them, like being famous, and I hate traveling. I hate hotel rooms. I hate planes. And most people listening to are just like I would love to fucking take a plane somewhere right now. You know, they're at their shitty 9 to 5. Meanwhile, this guy's complaining about the fucking TSA at the airport, or like you know what I mean? It's just they become jaded. I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah,
because whatever that thing was that you were when it was working kind of becomes something else over time. Yeah. And it's hard not to do that, really.
Well, music too. Like you're young and you're like fucking like, you know, like you're just, everything is like, it's like possibility, and then you become famous and rich, and it's just like, what's even the point anymore? You become like disillusioned and like, I don't know.
It's hard to stay in touch with whatever that is, I think, because like, I think once you reach a certain point of success, hungry is a good word to use, the word hungry, because like that hunger for success is probably a lot of that drive.
Right.
And so like once you lose that and you're already successful, it just kind of feels like you're going through the motions at that point.
Like literally, what musician can you name that like especially those old rock bands and stuff that had better albums later than they did early? Everything is basically early. Like you have like maybe Aerosmith had like a renaissance back in like the 90s where they were like famous in the 70s. They were like kind of not that famous in the 80s, and they came back and had like those albums, like the Titanic song and shit. But like other than that, it's like there's not everything. Even Bob Dylan, like his first few albums were amazing, and then like later it just became like, you know, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and dude, yeah. I heard somebody say the theory it was more like even about age, like that if you're 30 years or younger, that's when most artists have made their best music, and you can observe it in like any genre. It's 30 or younger. I think it's like you have to be super rare to break that rule, and it's probably
I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, you can't.
Like, I mean, you know, 30s. I'm sure, you know. I think Kanye had some good albums when he was still.
I think Kendrick's great still. I think Kendrick manages to still make awesome shit. I really think he's like one of the few people who can break that rule.
So you are like a would you mainly listen to rap or?
No, honestly, it's funny. I have to force myself to listen to music because like I went through so much of my life barely listening to anything at all. I just listen to fucking podcasts all the time. I'm a crazy person.
See, I'm the opposite. I used to listen to podcasts a lot, and then I think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I stopped, and I just listen to music now always.
Yeah, I need to do that.
And comedy albums. I even since then, I've like my first couple months doing comedy, I was listening to a lot of albums. And I just it's hard to listen to albums.
You mean like
now.
comedy albums?
Like yeah. Like Spotify has a ton of like comedy albums.
What's hard to listen? What makes it hard to listen to?
Oh man, just like being out every night listening to comedy, and then it's like during the day to listen to more.
Yeah.
Because like I'm at like 2 or 3 open mics every single night, so you have to like you know, like not that you have to listen to people, but just like constantly that. So it's like during the day, I like to just like drink coffee and like listen to music.
Yeah.
Music's my thing during the day, or like when I'm like on the way somewhere, I'll listen to music, and then because it's like you spend hours at these mics listening to people do sets. And so it's like you'll hear hours worth of jokes just waiting to go up, or like, you know, in between people or whatever. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe like if you were listening to like comedy greats, like maybe then it would be okay. Like
well, even then it's like I've listened to all the greats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just, you know, I mean, I don't know. Who are your favorite comedians?
Oh man, Bill Hicks is the shit.
Yeah.
Bill Hicks is like the man.
I like Joe Rogan's thing about him. He's saying how that was a guy who could have used a podcast.
Yeah.
Because like there's like same with George Carlin, how like a lot of his shit is like, it's not all like set up punch. It's very like a lot of it is just kind of like long-winded sort of like philosophy. Whereas like he could have had like if he had a different medium to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because like the laughs
it
per
would have
minute,
been a better format.
some of the laughs per minute on that is pretty low compared to like what people consider comedy now. You know, and it wasn't that long ago, right? But like still, it's like one of those things where if you could have just let him talk for an hour and not have to get any laughs, then it would have been probably better.
I think it would be very similar to what Tim Dillon does on his podcast.
I love Tim Dillon.
Me too.
I fucking love Tim Dillon.
I think if Bill Hicks had a podcast, it would be very similar to Tim Dillon's podcast.
I saw Tim Dillon last year in Milwaukee.
How was it?
Dude, fucking murdered. I've never seen that's the hardest I've seen anyone crush.
Really?
I'm not a big laugh out loud person. I feel like I'm just sort of dead inside. Like this chick I'm seeing now, like she'll tell me she's like oh, like why don't you laugh like when you're at a mic. I'm like I just don't. I'm not a big laugh out louder. I don't know.
That's how I am.
Even with me and my buddy, we'll be like when we think something's funny, we're like oh that was good. Oh that was funny. I'm not like a big like ha 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 fucking guy. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. I just never. I saw Tim Dillon, dude. I was like crying laughing. Yeah, he's hilarious. And people say that's another guy who gets a lot of hate. They're like, oh, you know, his podcast is good, but the stand-up is a little. No, I think he fucking murdered for an hour.
Really, I kind of find his stand-up to be pretty similar to his podcast.
Right, honestly. Right. No, I think so too. But I've seen that people have. That's the thing too, bro. Is like you were talking about Reddit earlier. I think basically in every single category. That's why I stopped kind of going on Reddit. They're all just haters, dude.
Oh yeah, I don't
even
like
there's like a subreddit my buddy was telling me about called like r/stand-up comedy, where it's like people talking about comedy. This whatever. Literally, whoever people post, they'll be like, oh, this person. Like there's Mark Normand. They were talking about him the other day. They're saying like, oh, Mark Normand's good, but all his albums have kind of been the same. He's never gonna be great. He's not gonna go down as one. I'm like, who the fuck is this fucking like person? Probably just like some piece of shit. sitting on his mom's couch, like talking shit about some famous comic. Meanwhile, like, who the fuck are you? Like,
That's
it's
usually
all
what it
haters.
is.
I'm not. I like that's one of my pet peeves is haters. Even in the comedy world, bro. Like, you'll see people be like, sometimes I'll have like another comedian see me or message me, be like, oh, did you see like this person got on this show? Like, oh, he got on and I didn't. I always be like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because like that doesn't, somebody getting on some show doesn't affect you at all. It's like, just focus on yourself. That's like one thing I not to like whatever. I hate people who are like haters.
Yeah, I can't even. In my mind, it's so counterintuitive because they don't even realize how stupid what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like you get what you deserve in this life.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason that guy got on some show or got this or whatever, what is you dwelling on that gonna accomplish? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's like, oh, like this, he's not even that funny. I'm funnier than him. Why is he doing this show? How did he get on roast battle? Or you know, I'm trying to say something like that, and it's just like, who fucking cares, dude? Like, how about you make yourself funnier? How about you go out more nights? And it's always somebody who's like, oh, why didn't I get on? And then you see them, they're like going to like one open mic a week, or, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. And it's like, what, like, how about you find a way to be funnier? Know more people, go out to mics, meet people, fucking, because that's a lot of things too, man. People submit to these shows. I don't know if you know how like comedy, like
I sort of know. Like it seems like a lot of it is just sending a good set or two to a booker.
That is true, submitting, right? But like even like a lot of recently, like I've been on like probably like 10 or 15 shows in the last couple months. Most of that is just talking to people in person.
Yeah.
Like somebody see me have a good set, be like, hey, I'm doing this show. Like, you want to come do it or whatever. It's like submitting is like a big part of it too. But it's like, it's just like, it's networking, man. You know what I'm saying? It's talking to people, getting their Instagrams.
And the same people who are complaining about it are the same people who don't even think to talk to people and just get in and out.
That too. And just like, and then blindly submitting to these shows and then wondering why they didn't get on. Because nobody knows who you are. You know? I don't know, man. I just don't. It's just so like I hate haters.
Yeah, I think you get the energy you give out.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a truth to karma. I think it's one of those things where like if you're that guy who's a hater and you're just talking shit all the time, you probably get treated like that, and that's why you act like that, because you put that energy out there and then people give it right back to you.
Yeah.
And so it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you think it's true. You think you're right that everybody is an asshole, but really you're the asshole. And it's really hard to see that when you're that guy.
Have you performed a lot at open mics in the city so far? Because I remember you went to my open mic and the shout out End the Night open mic, you guys. Tuesdays, 11 o'clock sign up, 11:30 start. Claddagh Pub Ring, Foster and Western. Hell yeah, go there.
Boom!
Hell
you
yeah.
heard the man. 11:30. End the night. It's the end of the night.
End of the night. We had one yesterday. We were there till like 1 a.m.
Yeah, is it usually like that?
Yeah. Last night was a little light. We had like 12 people. I think last week we had like almost 20. Like the last couple weeks we've had like almost 20. It's been good, man.
Nice.
Yeah, that night you went, I think there was like maybe like 12, 13 people. But yeah, we had 20 a couple times. It's like a fun room. Everyone basically stays till the end and shit. No, I was gonna say, like, you remember you did that set at my mic that one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, were you like sitting on the chair? Do you always sit on a chair?
No.
Okay. And then I heard
I just do whatever my soul tells me to do.
Nice, hell yeah, that's the way to live, dude. And then I heard like in Power Hour everybody was like talking like, oh, like he fucking crushed that Power Hour. Like that show was going around all day on Instagram, like people like tagging you and shit or whatever. Was it that it was really good?
Yeah, Power Hour went great, man.
Yeah?
Power Hour, I need to go back there. I work on Fridays usually, and I need to figure something out about that because I've realized that I think comedians can understand what I'm doing in this weird way, like because of the type of rap I make, because I'm doing rap that's so specific, and it's kind of like 90s rap in the way where it's very wordy, but like it's about punchlines. It's about making, like it's almost like Nas, like the same way Nas would write shit is how I'm writing shit. It's all about every word counts, and comedy's the same way. Every word counts, and it's about building up to punchlines and
true.
timing.
You miss one word or you mispronounce one word. That's like one thing I noticed too, is like a lot of people, if you stumble upon your words during a joke, it could be the funniest joke. People are not going to laugh.
Yep.
They hear you if you're like you fuck up one word and have to like repeat it. It could be the best joke ever that just got killed the other night. People aren't gonna laugh because like they saw you fuck it up.
Yeah,
it's kind of, yeah. That's why I've been doing stand up a lot drunk recently. And like, oh man, dude, yesterday I did a Laugh Factory after maybe having like 6 or 7 beers. And I was like sort of like slurring my words. I was like, geez, why I was telling my buddy I gotta start drinking less. You don't drink, right?
No.
Okay. You never have, or?
I have. Yeah. It's just not really. It never really been for me.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I find that I would rather be like you've listened to enough Joe Rogan to know what I'm talking about. How he says like he likes to like get so high that he's like scared is like a challenge. Like he'll do like a super high dose of edibles before getting on a plane.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of guy I am.
Which is funny. Yeah, that's like another thing how we were talking about how he sort of slowly changed over time. Like he used to be like this whole like, oh, I like weed, mushrooms kind of guy. Yeah. Never would talk about drinking. And now he's like,
that's a good point.
And now he's like drinking every episode almost. And now he smokes cigarettes.
Cigars.
Or well, no, he smokes cigarettes sometimes too.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Which is just kind of like, it's hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a weird shit.
People change though, you know?
People do change, yeah.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
No, I smoked cigarettes for like a month. My problem is I know how addictive my personality is, and I can't touch that shit. Like with the vape, vaping is what got me into cigarettes, and it's just like constantly ripping that shit, dude. I could do it all day. I would get to the point where I'd have a nicotine overdose, and I'm sitting there with the hot sweats. So
you're very like self-aware then.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I have an addictive personality too. I just choose to just let it ride.
Well, we all have our vices, dude. It's hard. It's hard because it depends on what you like. I know my addictive personality is also the reason that I'm good at the things I'm good at. Like I'm addicted to those things as well. I love exercising because I like pushing myself.
Oh yeah, I see you posting Planet Fitness and shit.
Dude, I'm gonna run a marathon one of these years. I'm telling you, I got fucking running legs, bro. But it's like shit like that where if I just put it in the right spot, it could be used for good. And so it's using that, and it's probably something mushrooms taught me one day or something, But
you do a lot of mushrooms?
Oh yeah, that's my drug of choice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, that's the one. I look at it like if I were to do like a nice dose of mushrooms, it's basically like the same thing as if I got blackout drunk, but a lot better for me.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
but how much do you normally do?
How much? The other day I did 5 grams. I just went all the way up to 5. But I like doing the bigger doses. I like to go like 3.5 or up. I don't like to do anything lower. And I do it by myself. I'm always doing it by myself. I guess the dog and the cat are here, yeah. But just, chilling. And because I find that like it's a personal experience. I look at it as like a spiritual experience. Really. Yeah, I think people, you can do it for fun and you can do it with friends. But like truly, if you want to get the message, whatever that message is, you got to just let yourself ride it out and be there with yourself. And you can't have all these distractions, So
the most you've done is 5?
Oh, the most I've ever done is 8.
What's considered like a heroic dose of mushrooms?
5. 5 is considered heroic. Wow, it depends on the strain, though.
So how was the 8? It's rough?
Yeah, dude. I was out of this world.
You almost lose it? Yeah.
But I love it, dude. That's why I like getting to the point where I'm uncomfortable and then knowing I can get through it. The first thing I ever did was acid, and I did a whole bunch, like way too much.
Hey, I was going to say, are you an acid guy?
I'm a mushroom guy all the way.
Okay.
But I did acid for a while, and it was just all I had access to. That's why I did it.
What's the most you've done of that?
Just 2 tabs. I never went crazy with that.
The most I've done is 2, and 2 is like when I hear people talk about doing like 5 or 10, I'm just like, oh, dude, that shit scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like it makes me sweat thinking about it.
Yeah, I had a friend who he had the same ones as me, and he would do like 4 or 5, and I'm like, what? That's
insane. Yeah, 1 is good. 2 is you're already pushing it. Yeah, 5 is like it scares me, man. Like it makes me get anxious.
It makes me anxious too because I look at acid completely differently than mushrooms. I look at acid's like it's kind of like a chill thing to do. It's just oh my god, this cat. Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Go on, Margot. She's not coming back in. But I look at it as it's like a chill thing to do. It's a down to earth experience, whereas. I've heard it put like acid is like being in a rocket ship, pushing all the buttons as it blasts off, where mushrooms is like being strapped to the side of it as it blasts off. And I think that's a good way to put it.
That makes sense.
You feel like there's just all this shit going on when you're on acid, and you're like on high alert, whereas mushrooms is just kind of more like, just kind of slows you can be in the moment a little bit more. And so I don't really like acid for that. And I didn't know what mushrooms was for a long time until I found it. And then I was like, oh, this is what I was looking for the whole time.
You ever like a bad trip?
I have, but I don't think,
You one of those people who says there is no such thing as a bad trip. Every trip is like,
I
like
think that's
everything's
true.
meant to be kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's the right way to look at it. Yeah, because otherwise it's like, you know.
I mean, there's got to be some, like some, what's the word? Like some, you know, like something has to be, like if you scratch your eyes or if you kill somebody, that's a bad trip.
I had
or
a bad.
if you claw your eyes out, that's a bad trip.
That's bad. If you jump out of a 3-story building,
that's a bad trip.
That's a bad trip.
Yeah.
But you got to learn from it. There was one bad trip I had. I remember it. It's coming to mind now. Where I remember I would take it and then I would smoke like a couple hours later, and so whatever was already going on is just intensified. And I remembered it was like I could feel my brain. Like I swear I was laying in bed and I wanted to relax, but I could feel my fucking brain in my head.
Yeah.
It was the most uncomfortable feeling.
Same happened to me with edibles, man. Where I did edibles before, and I literally was sitting there and my heart was like fucking racing, dude.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, like I can't. Even when I used to do weed, I would smoke. I would never do edibles just because it's like I just can't. I don't know. I don't like I was having this discussion the other day. Like people these days, I feel like more and more often you hear like, oh, I don't smoke. I just do edibles. Like I hear that all the time now. It's like I just can't do edibles. I don't like the way it hits you, man. Like I like taking the hit and being like, okay, like all right, I can like feel it hit right away. Like if I want, I can take more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Edibles is just like you're just sitting, and all of a sudden you're just like, ooh, okay, like it's here. I hate that. I just get anxious from it. I don't know.
I think when you smoke weed, the weed smokes you. When you eat weed, the weed eats you. I think
what is that supposed to mean? Like what is?
Whereas like if I smoke weed, the weed just kind of flows through me. It's just kind of like whatever. But if I eat it, it's like consuming me.
Yeah. So are you saying that in a bad way or a good way? Do you like edibles?
I like edibles, but it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
They are not the same thing.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like the same thing to talk about what Joe Rogan always says. Like how it's like 5 times stronger, something about like the liver. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, like it's even scientifically true.
Yeah. I forget what like the name of it. Yeah. It's like, oh, it is. Like, it's a totally different drug.
I think, like, even the way it psychoactively affects you, though. It's been proven that it's different. So if you were to eat it, like, the way that it's going to go through your bloodstream is actually different than the way if you were just to smoke it. Like, it actually is completely different.
Right.
I find that when I do edibles, I just get to a point where I'm like, I don't want to... I don't know. It's like I don't even know how to describe the difference. Like if I smoke, it's just kind of like, oh, whatever. Like we're just doing whatever. I'm just kind of there. But if I do an edible, it's like, oh my God, dude. It's like I was punched in the face by the weed. It's like I don't even, if I took like a decent amount of indica, I don't even want to do shit. I just want to lay here and do nothing.
Some comedian has a bit about that. Like I think like they call it like spectator mode. Where you take like a big, where just like you feel like you see everything, but like you can't really like participate.
That's a good way to describe it.
Like some comedian has a joke like that where it's like Call of Duty when you get killed and you're just like standing there watching people play like while you're waiting to like respawn or whatever. Yeah, I don't even play Call of Duty, but yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you play video games?
I used to play them a lot more.
Yeah.
I find that like the older and older I get, back to that addictive personality.
Yeah,
thing,
dude.
right?
I don't play at all.
I can't do it.
My last console was a PS3 that I got in like 2008 or like 9, and it's literally every single one of my friends plays Call of Duty and like all that shit. And they're always asking me like, you should play this, that, whatever. I can't.
I'll spend all my time on it if I do it.
I just can't. I don't know what it is. It just feels like I got enough shit going on.
Yep.
And just like I got enough shit to waste my time on with just like with just fucking life and being whatever. I just can't. I don't know. I feel like literally everybody plays video games these days. Like you talk to like 10 people, all of them are like saying like, oh, they play Madden or they play 2K or like Call of Duty or fucking like, you know, Pokemon or some shit like that.
I would play video games if they were better. I think games have changed a lot, like over the years. I don't think they're. Maybe if I got a Switch, I would like it because I hear there's a lot of stuff on Switch I haven't really played. But it's just like, dude, fucking even Call of Duty. Like looking at Call of Duty in particular, the industry used to be cool. The industry used to be like challenging itself and doing new things when it was like Black Ops 2 and his fucking Modern Warfare for the first time. I don't know if you even played it then or not.
I've never played Call of Duty. I mean, I know the names just from my friends playing, but like, yeah, I've never played.
It was cool though.
I've literally probably played like 3 times just at a person's house.
Really, you don't even. It's a grind fest. It's not even really any like the online. It's really just a grind fest type game. But it became a caricature of itself over time where like now they're just trying to make money and that's all they're trying to do. And as soon as Warzone came out, it became Battle Royale everything, but that was actually because of Fortnite. And then fucking everything became, oh, you can get a loot box, and the whole gaming industry has changed. And like only a couple companies are even doing shit the way companies used to do it. Like there's a game that came out called Baldur's Gate 3. I tried to play it. I just didn't get that deep into it because again, I just can't spend all my time doing that, just like you. But yeah, that game was pretty good, and it was because it's a full, complete game. It wasn't like they released half a game and they were going to release the other half later as DLC with just everything now.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It's real. It really is how the fucking shit is, because companies have deadlines and they want to make money, so they want to put out the game as fast as possible. That's what happened with Fallout 76, because the Fallout games were pretty good. Fallout 4 was all right, and then Fallout 76 was an absolute flop. And now everybody's looking at the next Elder Scrolls game like, I don't know about this, because they just released, I'm talking about Bethesda, that's the company that released all these. They released another game called, I wanted to say Skyrim, but that's Elder Scrolls. But it was a space game, and it was fucking terrible. And it's just like, it's the same problem every time. It's an incomplete game with a bunch of bugs. I really think that's what GTA 6 is going to be. Everybody's like, oh, GTA 6, oh my God. Yeah. But dude, I could go on and on about that shit because I've studied this. Because I know for a fact, like the last great game that Rockstar released was Red Dead Redemption 2. That was 2018. If you're going to play a video game, I'd recommend that one. That game is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. It's the one where like he's like the riding on the horse, like cowboy kind of guy or whatever.
Cowboy Simulator. Yeah. But it is like, it's Rockstar is an amazing company with an amazing track record, and that game is probably their magnum opus. It's like the best game they ever made.
When I was a kid, I played GTA, like San Andreas.
That's the shit.
That was like the only one I played, because then even when GTA 4 came out, I was already done.
Oh.
Like like the one, it's like New York, like Nico Bellic or whatever.
Nico Bellic.
Yeah. Like I played a lot of, and San Andreas was like the only one I really ever played.
Great game.
Yeah.
Do you have like significant memory of playing it? Do you remember
like just shooting people like a CJ.
That was the first time we could really do that. Those games.
And then you could have like get the prostitute in the car, and then like you could like kill her and get your money back.
Yeah.
Or like like some of the.
You never played Bully?
No, that's also Rockstar, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I could remember the commercials. I've never, honestly, bro. Most of the shit I played was when I was a kid. I had N64.
Nice.
So I would play like. I was really into like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. That was my thing, and it's like Super Smash Bros, GoldenEye on N64, and then GameCube. So I would play like Super Mario Sunshine, and then I was really into like sports games. So like Madden, MLB. I guess at the time it would be like, I don't know if this the show whatever, but like baseball games. I played a lot of Madden. That was like my thing. 2K, nice. Like NBA Live. It used to be called. Yeah, I was never really into. I've never been into shooters. I don't know, like first person shooters or stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. GTA, yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was like my thing. You ever play that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the I think it was Underground 2 is the one I played.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Margera.
That's like the one where they go on tour and they have like the wheel. They're like spinning around the wheel. Yeah. Like people get like eliminated, and like the beginning is like they kidnap you in a van. Yeah. That's a good one.
I got great memories.
The first one, the Tony Hawk's Underground, the original Underground, that's like considered like probably the best one, because it was the first one that actually had like a real storyline. Because the other ones are just like you just have a level, and then you have like, I don't know if you remember, you get like a high score, secret tape, like grind like the 5 fire hydrants or whatever, like stuff like that. And then like Tony Hawk's Underground was the first one that actually had like a conducive like a real story, like the way like a video game does.
Yeah. And that was probably like, it was more of an arcade game before that.
Basically, yeah. It was like you had a level and then you just had goals. And then Tony Hawk's Underground was like, it was like finding like an Underground 2, and then after that I stopped playing after that. I think there was one called like Project 8 or like
Project 8. I think there was Proving Grounds.
I think that's where I started. And then they had like one called like Tony Hawk's Ride, where it came with like the little skateboard. That shit bombed, I guess. Like the reviews were terrible for it.
Like Guitar Hero.
Yeah. And then like everyone was into skate then after that. And like me and my buddy would argue, because like he would always say, "Oh, skate's so much better," because like the way you have to like actually like because Tony Hawk is just like you just like like you do those insane combos and get like like 1,000,000 points, and it's just very unrealistic because you just keep like riding. Whereas like skate is like you actually have to like pop like the controller the right way. You know what I'm saying? And I was never into that. I don't know. I like the arcade aspect of it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I found the Tony Hawk games to be really fun for that.
Never a skate guy. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it.
I probably could get into it if I really wanted to. Like, I could probably do it. But I only played that game for a little bit because it was just, to me, it was a bit, it wasn't really what I was looking for. If you were a skater, it'd probably be way more true to this skating
Well, yeah, because you actually have to, like, you skate?
Sort of. I have an electric skateboard that I ride to work downtown. So it's like a good.
You ride it from here to downtown?
Yeah.
How long is that?
40 minutes.
On a skateboard?
Yeah.
You ever bust your shit?
And I've fallen off of it a couple times. Yeah. Nice. But only it was through faults of my own, you know.
Wait, so when you say electronic skateboard, how does that work? Do you still push or it's like e-assist?
It has it has a handle, what do you call it? A remote. It has a remote and you're holding the remote and you kind of push your thumb to accelerate.
So do you still like
you don't kick, no. You can kick, but you don't.
Oh, so it's just basically it's basically might as well be like a Segway. Like you stand on it and just press the button. How fast does it go?
The first one I got, the battery like went out on it for some reason, but I had it fixed and I have it back now. But that one goes about 22, 24. The second one I have, that one goes up to about 28, 30.
Wow, damn, dude, that's crazy.
It's the shit.
You ever ride like e-bikes or whatever?
Yes.
You ever ride those Chicago divvy bikes?
Yes.
Yeah, I like to do that. The e-bikes.
I like those. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just buy one if I could afford it. They're expensive though. Like, that's why I got the skateboard, because I wanted to be able to get around without having to worry about constantly paying for fucking... Like, I'm pretty sure if you wanted to ride those divvy bikes... do they have an annual...
Yeah, they have like an annual thing.
But don't you still have to pay when you use it every time,
Yeah, you know,
right?
I had one. I got like grandfathered in for like the old membership price. But yeah, they're like, it's like 15 cents a second now. Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that expensive.
Yeah, I know. It could be a lot cheaper. No, but yeah.
But that's why I got the skateboard, is because of that. Because if you look it up, like an electric bike, those things are, a good one will cost you like at least $1,000.
Yeah. I've been riding those divvy bikes for like 3 years. I got like 10,000 miles on them.
I bet.
Yeah.
Because they're everywhere. A city like this, it's really nice because they really are all over the place.
And it's like it gets you places faster, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're coming home from like I always take diversity home from like going places, and like especially during rush hour, it'll be like 3 or 4 p.m. right, and like it's like one lane of westbound traffic, like, you know what I'm trying to say, and then like you're just on the bike lane flying by everybody, like just like you like are literally getting home faster than cars on a bike. You know,
that's how that skateboard is. It's the same shit, because it's like...
So you go on the bike lane?
Yeah, bike lane. But honestly, like, it just depends. It depends where I'm at, because you can ride in the street on that thing if you got to. Like, sometimes it's better to ride in the street, because if it's just like a bike. If it's just the sidewalk in the street, you gotta ride in the street.
But technically, it's like technically illegal to ride a bike on the sidewalk in Chicago.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
technically.
See, I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So do you like skate like on a normal skateboard too, or no?
I bought a skateboard once thinking that's what I wanted, and I fucking paid like $200 for the thing.
For like a complete,
yeah,
like a real pro, like yeah.
And then I realized afterwards, like, I didn't need this. I should have just gotten a longboard, because that's kind of what the skate. Really, it's more like an electric longboard than an electric skateboard.
Yeah.
And that's really what I like. I just like cruising way more.
Not like
than
tricks.
I'm not trying to break my ankles.
Not trying to do like tricks and shit.
I'm not even good at it. Like, if I wanted to, I would. Or I guess if I really wanted to learn, maybe I could. But dude, for one, you're so injury prone, and I don't like
now,
that.
yeah, learning at this age is like, unless you did it before, it's like it's hard. Mm-hmm. And bailing is like it's like one of those things where you learn how to bail. I used to skate when I was a kid, and like I haven't in a long time, but I could still like I'm still like, what's the word, like competent enough.
You can do tricks or no?
Nothing crazy.
Ollies? You can at least ollie?
Yeah.
Okay.
But but yeah, like not very high though. But like, yeah, I was dropping in on like half pipes and doing shit like that, like doing little like lip tricks and like stuff like that. But like barely grinding. But like I'm really good at riding though. And like one of my things was like going down hills and like going like up curbs and doing manuals and shit like that. I mean, I was never good, but like I could ride a skateboard.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's more than nothing. That's more than most people probably.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's fun. Especially I used to have a skateboard with like ceramic bearings. They're like the $100. I don't know. You don't know about like skate culture. So like most bearings are like $15-$20. Then you have like your mid-class like $40-$50 bearings. And there's this one company called Bones. Mm-hmm. They have like these ceramic ones that are like super like fast. They cost like $100 for bearings, like the thing that goes in the wheel.
Yeah.
And it's like so fast, dude. And like it'd just be fun just to like go like cruising down the street. Honestly, I feel like every summer comes around, I was like, oh, should I get a skateboard? And then like summer's ending, I'm like, fuck, I didn't get one. But yeah, when I was like a teenager, I was like skating all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
They're expensive. They're that expensive. The bearings are.
Well, like
those ones are.
The good ones. Yeah. They're
like.
Because
I bought some bearings, but for the electric skateboard, and they were about like $30 for 8.
Well, yeah, because it's like 2 per wheel, like 1 on each side or whatever. Yeah. But like no, yeah, it's just like those are like the highest end bearings that there are.
Well, I want to get nice bearings.
Yeah, look at Bone Ceramics. Yeah. And that's the thing you could get technically, since they're ceramic, one of the things like the perks is you could get them in water and they won't rust. Because like that's the whole thing about bearings is like, like the whole thing, you're not supposed to get a skateboard in water because it'll rust. Like, so any other bearings, you get water in them, they start fucking up. Those ceramics, you could put it in water and they're not going to rust.
Oh, wow.
So they're basically like lifetime guarantee.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is the shit. What made you stop skating?
I think just time and just like, I don't know, man. It came a point where I was just like, I don't know. It was like everyone I used to know was doing it when I was like a teenager and like chilling in the park and skating and shit. And then like you kind of like not get away from those people, but just kind of like stop hanging out with them and then like slowly just like put it in the closet and never took it out. And then going to school and doing fucking this and that, whatever. And just like, you know how it is. You sometimes just lose it.
Yeah.
I was never like good or anything, but like
you can always pick it back up again though.
Yeah, no, yeah. I could still skate. Like I've like my buddy has a skateboard. I was like riding it the other day, like just riding. Not the other day, maybe like this was in the summer. But like yeah, like I can still push and like, I would get they call them like an old school deck where it's like, like they had like the kids now are skating like they call them like popsicle decks where it's just like the regular kind of like looking skateboard. Then you have longboards which are like they don't really have like your skateboard doesn't have like a tail or a nose, right? It's just kind of like flat. So they have this thing called an old school board where it's like kind of like it's like 10 inch because a regular skateboard's like 7.5 inches wide, or like 7.75. So they have one where it's like 10 inches wide, but it also has a nose and a tail. So it's called like a street axe or like an old school style where it's like you could still do tricks on it, but just wide. Because like when I was like on those like little popsicle boards, like it feels so small compared to like it feels like your feet are like dangling off the sides. I don't know. I have like size 12 shoes, so it's like I was on that skateboard and it was just like I just felt like it was like it's too small. Yeah. But I was never really into longboards either because I need to be able to at least pop the fucking tail. Like I can't just have flat on both sides. It just feels wrong. Like I need to be able to like at least manual or do something. You know what I mean?
But yeah. A longboard, yeah. You can do tricks with a longboard, right? But it's just hard. It's just
different, and you have to like basically like a kickflip is like you like bending down and like flipping it with your hand.
Oh, really?
I don't think you can really do a kickflip on it if not because there's no tail. So it's flat on both sides. So like you wouldn't be able to even like pop the skateboard.
Yeah. And that's really like what the beginning of any trick is, the popping of the skateboard, right?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people do tricks. What about those penny boards though? Don't they have those too?
Oh yeah, I don't. Those are I can't. It's so small, man. It feels like you're gonna fall off.
I don't know how people do.
I don't know. I don't know. Even these days, those skateboards, like the regular popsicle boards, they're so tiny, man. I don't know.
Is that the same thing? A popsicle
no, it's like
board?
A regular. That's like what you would consider a regular skateboard. It's just like a regular, kind of like where it looks like that. Like a regular one.
But that's too small to you.
Personally, I don't know. I guess I used to have smaller feet when I was younger. But just like, I don't know.
Yeah. You could, I mean, like, I think skating culture is really cool. Like, I think the people who are into skating tend to be like the nicest people. You wouldn't think it'd be like that, but they're like the coolest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
usually
they're cool.
Skateboarders. Yeah. And they're always like super supportive of each other.
Super supportive because like you were saying, because it's like one of those things where you could try a trick 100 times and you're not going to get it, and then you finally get it, and everyone around you's like, oh, like they're like the opposite of haters. No one's like, oh, did you see John? He got a kickflip. Oh, fuck that guy. Yeah. It's not like comedians. This is like the opposite. Like, oh, hell yeah, dude, you were trying that shit all day and you finally got it. And it's like everyone's supportive and giving you a high five, and like people want each other to succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not bringing each other down.
Yeah.
You know?
And they want to see each other like turn pro and do all that shit.
Oh, I got sponsored or yeah.
If you get sponsored, you're like the coolest guy in the whole skate crew now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to hang out.
That was like the
more.
whole thing when you're like a teenager, be like, oh, like I'm gonna get sponsored. What people are talking about like getting sponsored by like the local skate shop. There used to be like a skate shop next to my house. Not next to my house, like a mile away. People would go there and try to like be like, oh, like can I like can you give me your shit to wear? Like, yeah, it was just so like. It's like when you're like in an elementary school basketball team and all the kids think they're going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
And you finally like actually like see what real kids look like at that age who are good. And then you're like, oh, okay, there's no There's no chance. I'm like a 5 foot tall white kid who's 12. It's not gonna happen.
But like with skating, it's I guess it's probably again like comedy where like you have to just keep in touch with that completely unrealistic goal, and then one day it'll actually happen. That's probably the same thing, just
Right.
like a sheer commitment to that, just never giving up on that. Because and it's probably 1 out of every 20 kids that skates, 1 out of every 100 kids that skates forever. You know, most people give up on that shit.
Oh yeah. But that's the thing too. That's like one of my pet peeves too. We were talking about earlier. Is like how people kind of have this thing. I remember, I forget who it was. Some guy was telling me he was like 40, 45, telling me like he still skates, and like his wife or girlfriend was like, oh, like you still skate? Like, come on, you're 40. Like, give it up already. It's like whatever. I hate that kind of like anytime where people think you should be doing something at a certain age or not doing something, or it's kind of like the whole thing about like people are like, oh, like what? You're eating pizza for breakfast? That's weird. Like, who the fuck said you're not supposed to eat? Like, who determined what you're supposed to eat at what meal? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, who says you can't skate at 40 or 50 or whatever? If you still can, then do it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that people put, like, these expectations on people. Or, like, these, like, certain, like, oh, like, by this age, you should be this. Like, a lot of women will do that. They'll be like, oh, like, I'm 30. I got to, get married already or whatever. It's like, who is really, like... I mean, I get it with, like, the whole biological clock shit, whatever. Maybe that's a bad example. But just certain things where it's like, oh, like, you're this old, you still do this. Video games are another one. Like, I don't play... But, like, I'll see a lot of people, especially, like, the older generation, like, oh, he's 40 and he plays video games. Like, what, is he some kind of loser or nerd or whatever? It's like, bro, like, I hate when people put, like, restrictions on themselves in any sort of way.
Yeah. Because in reality, it's just that's, you got that idea at
the end of the day, do what you like. Because we're all going to fucking die.
Yeah.
So it's like, do what you feel like doing. Who cares what people say or, like... I don't know.
Yeah, and whatever you like doing, someone else doesn't like doing. Like it's cool that you found a thing that you like. Like that's actually a beautiful thing. Like for someone else to shit on it, they're the one who's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Some people,
asshole.
and then, like it's always some guy with like a 9-to-5 job at like a bank or some shit who's like, oh, he still skateboards, or like oh, he does comedy, or like people will, like with comedy, they'll be like. My buddy was telling me this, like he'll have his one of his parents or some should be like oh, like you're going out like every day now, whatever, like are you getting paid? And they're like, oh, I'll get paid once in a while, I got paid $50 or like $100 once, whatever. And they'll be like, oh, like you're going out every night, you're just making that. But it's like that's the whole thing, is like it's the grind though, because like no one's just gonna go. It's like going in the gym for a week and you think you're gonna be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I'm saying? You have to like go grind and like get funny and do shit and meet people, and then maybe one day after like 5 years or 10 years, maybe it'll pay off and then you're gonna be making money. But it's like you can't just expect to, like, people have this expectation of like, oh, I'm gonna go and like there's no money in comedy when you're when you're like at this level. There just isn't. You know what I mean? Like it comes later on. Even with like I don't know how it is. How long have you been rapping for?
Like 13 years.
Okay. So have you like done gigs where you got paid, obviously, right?
Yeah, not a whole lot though.
Yeah. I imagine that's almost even harder than comedy, because like putting on a rap show or whatever. That's I can't even comedy. At least it's like there's more of a path to be like, okay, like there's all these different Instagram pages or all these different shows. You could be like, hey, like here's my clip, put me on a show, whatever. Rap. I wouldn't even know where to even go with rap. Or like then you have like albums and like you have like your own songs and shit on Spotify and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So wait, so you've been rapping what, half your life? So you're 13 years old when you started rapping?
I never thought about it that way.
That's crazy.
You're right. Yeah, half my life. Wow. No one's ever put it to me like that. Yeah, it really has been half my fucking life. And it'll continue to be more and more of my life.
It's literally just going to be more now, because then you're going to be 30 and it's going to be like 60% of your life.
Over half, yeah. But I look at it like the same way that comedians look at comedy, where it's like, if you're just starting music, you're probably not that good yet, and you have so much time to improve. And even if you are good, you can get so much better.
And that's another thing too, is like you were saying, is like if you don't, with rap or comedy, you don't start. Like if your goal is I'm going to be famous one day, or like I'm going to make, or if your goal is I'm going to make money out of this one day, you're probably not going to make it. You actually have to like love it and say like I'll hear people say stuff like, be like oh, like if I'm not at this, like if I'm not at a certain place in 2 years or in 5 years, I'm just going to quit. Whereas like I think that's the wrong mentality to have. I think it's like if you really like it and like you think, all right, you have to basically commit yourself, be like, all right, like this is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm a comedian now. Like I go out, I fucking do comedy, I write jokes. This is my life, right? It's like if it doesn't work, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's like you just have to like basically give your life to it and be like, this is what I'm going to do now. If you're looking at it like oh, like I'll check back in 6 months and see how I'm doing. Maybe I'm going to stop. And what are you going to stop and go do? Like I see all these comics say like, oh, I'm thinking of quitting, whatever. What are you going to fucking go do? Like go, like, what do you know what I'm trying to say? We're all fucking weird crazy people. It's like, what are you going to go do? Chill with your family?
When he reminds me of that Brendan Schaub and Joe Rogan thing, where Joe Rogan was saying to him, like, you already have half your foot out the door.
Right.
Like, that really is, like, if you're thinking that way, like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like,
Right.
why are you still here? If there's so many musicians that are like that too, where like, I don't even understand. Like, if you're making music, you need to be thinking of yourself as the musician, and you want to be successful in that, and you should believe in yourself. If you aren't starting there, then what the fuck are you doing, dude? If you don't actually see yourself, and it's like you have to have a ridiculous belief in yourself to, like, all the people who have been successful. It's not like they just they were thinking that way, like, oh, maybe I'm going to quit. No, they like pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And then one day they finally fucking broke through that glass ceiling. But you have to push and push. It's not like something that's fucking easy. And nothing really is. There's like this illusion presented by success that things are easy.
And like you were saying, and even if you do push for 10 years, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But that's okay. It's okay if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because if you actually love it, and like you just like I said, if you commit and say like, this is what I do now, I'm just a comedian or like a musician or whatever it is. If you actually love it, then it's like, it doesn't matter if it works out or not. Obviously, you want it to work out. Obviously, like, if you could just say, like, oh, yeah, in 10 years, you'll be playing the United Center. It's like, everyone would say, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to do whatever. But it's like, there is no guarantee. You just have to, like, just put your hands, like, just put your you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's whatever happens, happens. There is no, but when I hear people saying, like, oh, like, if I'm not here by a certain time, or if I'm like, oh, I better start, you know, getting more shows, or if not, I'm going to quit. It's like, it's already done for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember back in, like, high school, I graduated in 2016. I remember I was thinking, like, dude, by 2020, by 2022, like, I'll be 4 years out of high school, 6 years out of high school. Like, I'm bound to be, I'll have made it by then, like, for sure. And here I fucking am,
dude.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I remember being 18, like, thinking, like, I can't wait till I turn 21 so I can go to, like, bars and drink and strip clubs and shit like that. And then I'm here about to turn 30, being like, where did the time go, dude? Like, oh man, I don't know.
But in that sense, though, like, I think there's a wisdom in that. Like, you can get so ahead of yourself, and I think everybody does, and everybody, like, they have this idealized version of their life where everything's all good and everything's great. And that's like the human condition, is to constantly strive for this better version of your life where everything's perfect. Like, of course you would want that. We all would want that. But in doing that, you completely lose this moment itself. And, like, you miss out on those small successes that you're having. Like those comedians that have that giant lofty dream of, oh, I got to be on The Tonight Show within 5 years or whatever the fuck. I have to be on SNL, or I have to, whatever it is that they've decided is the thing they have to do. Every single one of those little wins is just like, it's not even acknowledged as a real accomplishment in their mind because it wasn't that giant thing.
Right.
And it's like, you need to, like, you're doing awesome shit right now. And, like, somewhere like here in Chicago, there's so much opportunity for you, and you need to pursue that and just find opportunities right now. Like, all those people that are successful, again, they didn't just end up there. They pursued that shit, and they accepted their condition, and they just tried to keep pushing. And, like, what you said earlier about making connections with people, it's a lot of it is even in that. Like, a lot of that success that you see was just because somebody knew somebody else, and they just happened to connect.
For them, or did, like, put them on a show. It's a lot of it is that, which is like, and some people get mad at that too. They'll be like, oh, like, it's not fair. Like, this person books this show, he just put his friends on it. But it's like, you know, like, it's one of those things like, well, why aren't you their friend then? Or like, why don't you have friends who do that? Or like, why don't, you know what I mean? There's always, people are always, like, complaining about shit.
Well, it's like a victim mentality.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a lot of people have that. A lot of people have that where it's like, oh, like, I've tried submitting here so many times. Why don't they put me on? It's like, dude, like, nobody. The thing is too. It's like I don't know if you've seen the movie The Departed.
Yeah.
It was like the one he's like, no one gives it to you. You have to take it. You know, like, nobody owes you anything in this world. So it's like, whatever you get, you have to go, like, no one owes you. People think like, oh, like, you know, like, I deserve, like, you deserve nothing. You have to go, like, make yourself deserve, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, no one owes you anything, especially in comedy. Nobody owes you anything. Like, you think, like, because like, oh yeah, like, they're going to put me on, or they're going to do this. Like, nobody, you know, like, everyone always thinks that's, like, the whole thing. Everyone always, even with losing weight, people always think they're burning more calories than they really are. And they always think they're eating less than they really are. So it's like, there's, like, this disconnect of, like, people think they're like, oh, people know who I am. I'm big in the scene. I'm this, that, whatever. Where it's like, nobody even fucking, like, you know, people are always thinking they're more than they are, which is like, I try to be humble when it comes to that. It's like if someone like doesn't remember my name or doesn't know whatever, I don't take offense to him. Just like, oh, you know, like he's met 1,000 people before. How is he supposed to remember my name? He's been doing comedy for fucking 10 years. So what if he doesn't remember my name? You know what I'm trying to say? Where some people are like, oh, you saw that guy didn't remember my name. I'm so pissed. Fuck that guy. I'm gonna unfollow him on Instagram. I'm gonna block him. People say that. Comedians are insane, dude. You've interviewed a couple. I don't know if the ones you've interviewed are crazy. But dude, some of them are fucking insane, dude. And I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Don't worry, I think you're all crazy. I think all you guys.
Yeah,
are crazy.
I'm pretty. I don't. It sounds cringe when someone says, "Oh, I'm so fucking crazy, dude." I mean, I'm not. You know, I'm whatever. But
I think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy
if you
too.
know me, you know. Yeah,
I'm a little insane.
Even
You have to be in order to do something like comedy or music. You got to be a little bit insane. Yeah, you got to be out of your mind, because why the fuck else would you do something like that? You know, it's such a low success rate. You're almost bound to fail. You're gonna spend so much time trying to perfect this thing that, like, most people just look at completely casually, and you're looking at it like a pure art form that you're trying to master.
Yeah. For most people, comedy is like something they do like once every couple months on a Saturday night.
Yep, exactly.
Like, oh, let's go have a couple drinks and laugh or whatever. Whereas like they've never been to it. Like that's the thing. People, they go to an open mic and they're like, what the fuck is this? There's just like mentally ill people saying the N-word on stage, you know? Yeah.
Is this some type of insane asylum I just walked into?
It literally, well, yeah, dude. I mean, that's like the whole joke, not to sound like a hack or cringe or whatever, but like people, it really is like you walk into an open mic with 30 other comedians. It's like a lot of them really are just like, it's like mentally ill people, depressed people, anxious people, people who are a lot of alcoholism in comedy.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of guilty of that recently. Just a lot of, you know, I don't know, man. It's just, but it's cool. I couldn't see it. I'm so glad that I started. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I've only been doing it almost 2 years, but I wish I would have started earlier. Mm-hmm. That's what me and my buddy always talk about, saying like, oh man, like imagine we would have started when we were 21, you know? But then again, you see people who start when they were that age and they're still just at the same open mics that we are.
Yeah. Everybody's got a different path for sure.
No, exactly. You find it like everything happens for a reason. But I don't know, man.
Because like some people, you know, like some people start super early and they just happen to pop right off. Other people work at it for 10, 15 years before they get any type of success. Some people have been doing it their whole life and they just start to see success at like fucking 55.
And there's a lot of those guys in Chicago where it's like you think like, oh, by the time I'm like 10 years in, 15 years, I'll probably be like doing this, doing that, whatever. And then they're just at the same open mics as you. Mm-hmm. Just on a Sunday night, just 10 years in, just like, which is, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Like, it's just like we all have our own, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. And they're still, I mean, they're doing shows, they're doing this, that, whatever. Because a lot of people, I was having this discussion with somebody too, saying like, what is a professional comedian? Mm-hmm. Or like, because somebody was saying like, oh, like we're all open micers. You're saying, like, what is an open micer? And you're saying an open micer is somebody who still has a day job, can't pay for his life with comedy. I'm like, oh, so like literally every single person basically in the scene is an open micer. Because like even if you make like $1,000 from shows in a month, if you still have a day job, that means you're an open micer. I was like, I don't know about that. Because yeah, I don't know. I think to me as an open mic is somebody who doesn't get on any shows at all.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like if you get on one show, are you a pro? Professional is a funny word. Professional is like, I think that means you don't have a day job. Like if someone says professional rapper, that's the guy who doesn't work at like some other place or whatever. He doesn't have like even with the 9, like you were talking about comedians are crazy or whatever. It's like I can't, like I knew right away I couldn't be again that 9 to 5 grind. Mm-hmm. So like I went to college and I almost graduated, but I dropped out because I went to school to be a teacher, and then like I was like 6 months away from graduating, and I had this like realization one day. We had like a because I was gonna be like a gym teacher. It sounds so fucking stupid just even saying it out loud. But we had like a run through where like a class of kids came in and like me and this chick had to like teach them for an hour, and then like I went home and I was like on the way home and I was thinking like I had like a breakthrough. I'm like, I can't do this for fucking 40 more years. Like I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah.
So then I dropped out that day. And then yeah. And I mean, even now the shit I do, like I sell shit on eBay and Amazon stuff. That's not a 9 to 5. Like nobody can make me go into work, or like they can't tell me to have my, like I can't do the grind of like a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, when I had Mike Dwyer on the show, he was basically saying
dog walking,
the same
right?
thing.
Yeah.
Yep, dog walking, and that he'll go from job to job to job, and he fucking hated every single job he worked at, and then now he's finally doing something he likes, and he's happy. Yeah. And it's like, that's the goal. That's really what this podcast is about, is creating an actual revenue source outside of music, because music's not really making the money, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then if that can work out, then boom, we can just do podcasting and music, because I like doing this, you know? But it's that's what all of life is about, in my opinion, is just finding shit you actually want to do. Because there is some guy who does want to be a gym teacher for his whole life. Who actually
finds, I met a lot of those people.
Yeah.
People who are just like, they actually get fulfilled. My sister's a teacher.
I think teaching would be a great job. I really think it would be fulfilling,
Right.
if you were that person, right?
If it actually,
Because you get to feel that feeling of like giving that experience to people, of giving them an education.
Teaching is one of those jobs, or even being like a cop, or being like maybe even like a lawyer if you're helping get people off. But then you see people like who are working at like, you know, Jewel or something like that. It's like, how many of those people actually enjoy it, or how many of those people are actually going there just because like we all need to make a living and whatever. So it's like, those are the people who I'm like, oh man, like I could never do like, I mean, that's the thing. Some people, you just have to do it, you know? I mean, obviously you need money to fucking afford an apartment or food or fucking light bill, you know? But just, you see that grind, and you see people who are like, oh, you know, just like that phrase, just working for the weekend. And then just like, I see, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, it's like every day feels like the weekend for me, because I get to go do comedy and fucking drink and chill and fucking hang out with people and meet people all the time and hang out with, you know. And then you see people who are just like, oh yeah, I'm just at my 9 to 5. I get home and I watch Big Bang Theory and then watch the news and then maybe, you know, watch a couple episodes of a series and go to sleep. And it's like, I can't, like I go to sleep at 4 a.m. every night, you know, I'm not that person. But I don't know. Maybe one day I will be. Maybe I'll watch this one day. I'll have like a wife and kids. I'll be like, who the fuck was I? I don't know, man. What do you do for work?
I'm a server at a restaurant. I'm a server. I sell crack.
Do you got any right now?
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Want some? It's in my pocket.
Oh man.
But
nice.
No, I'm a server at a restaurant. That's what I do. And I like working. That's my favorite job that I've had of all the jobs I've had, because I think it still at least scales based on my performance. Like as a server, if I'm good at my job and I'm a good server, sure, some people aren't going to tip me, but like the people who appreciate what I'm doing will see that I'm trying.
What's like that shit I've heard, like either comedians or like actors talk about why they like being servers, because like you can kind of be like a different person every time. There's like some like a quote when it comes to that. Like you could just like, you can act, you can like be whoever you want to be, because like they don't know who you are. So you can just go up to a table and be like, you can talk with an accent, or you could fucking just be like a totally different demeanor every time.
I thought about that. Imagine me walking up to a table. Hello, how are you doing today?
Jesus Christ. You know? Sleeper Arab dude.
Yeah.
It's really light. You from like Syria or some shit, just like super light skin.
If they ask any questions, I just moved here. I was born there.
Imagine the guy starts talking like Arabic to you. He's like, oh, I'm just fucking around, dude.
Yeah. But all kinds of, I could see why that would be a thing. I heard Aaron Paul say something like that, where he like when he worked at the McDonald's drive-thru.
Aaron Paul,
from Breaking Bad.
Oh, like, okay.
He was talking about how when he worked at McDonald's in the drive-thru, he would practice his accents over the headset. And one thing I used to do over the headset at McDonald's is I would talk as fast as I possibly could.
You worked at McDonald's too?
Yeah, when I was that was my first ever job, was McDonald's.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was McDonald's, and then actually my first ever job was G Card, which is a food commodity place, where it's like people just getting free food from the government. Second one was McDonald's, and then after that, I think it was just serving mostly after those two jobs. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. But I've always been doing other shit too. Like I said, I started making music 13 years ago, and then I did an interview thing for a while. Like before I ever did any of this, I did an interview show where it was called 60 Seconds With, and I would do a full interview. I would film it with people, and then I would cut it down to a 60-second video, and then edit it all together, and it was like a whole thing. And that was my first ever like foray into interviewing and all of that. So it's all just like searching for something that actually works. Like really, that's what it's always been.
How many episodes of this have you done?
This is episode 124.
124, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. And I've been doing it since 2018, but like if you actually look at like the amount of episodes I post per year, like really it's picked up a lot over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I see you've had a bunch of people on recently.
Yeah.
I feel like you're posting like all the time.
Every 3 days is what we're trying to do with the episodes.
Fuck yeah. You say we is just you have someone else who's
it's all me.
Okay.
It's all me, and that's the hard part. That's why we need to start making some fucking money.
You ever thought about having like a co-host or anything like that?
I've thought about it, but I think like I'd like again, with like Joe Rogan being a role model in that sense, I think Joe Rogan, he has the format down, dude. It's literally what makes a good podcast in my mind is to just have a good conversation. And I think like what happens is I don't even like having more than one guest a lot of the time because you'll get this, you get this different dynamic where people are kind of throwing shit back and forth, like, and then I'll just end up kind of whatever, I don't care. But I lose control at a certain point. And, like, there's something that happens when it's just one person and another person. So, like, if anything, it would be just like Joe Rogan. I just want a dude over there who can look shit up when we're talking about certain shit. Yeah, I just need a Jamie because that's the way to go, you know? Even I don't even like these comedy podcasts with these fucking laughers. That shit is so annoying to me. Where it's like we're talking and then somebody in the background goes,
like your mom's house.
God, that shit is so annoying. I don't know why they do it.
It's funny because a lot of people like that. I'll read the comments, be like, "Oh, like the guy's rolling in the background." Like they'll talk about it. Yeah,
people do like it.
Yeah,
but in my opinion, it's so gimmicky. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're supposed to laugh now. It's like a laugh track on a show. It's like, what do you gas these people up with to get them to laugh so much? No human laughs like that all the time. No fucking way. But maybe I'm wrong, you know. You're
like I said, I'm not a big laugher, so
me neither. So maybe I wouldn't know. Yeah. Like I laugh in conversation, but like watching stand up, or if I'm just sitting in the background, I'm not gonna just be sitting there laughing. Like you gotta make me fucking laugh. I'm not just gonna laugh up for no fucking reason, especially that loud. So like that type of shit, I just don't like stuff that derails things like that. Like and so yeah, that's always kind of been the vision of the show, is to just highlight people. And I think like for me, what I've learned is like that's what I like to do. Like in the same way that like you want to escape a 9-to-5 and do comedy full time. Like I love doing a podcast because it gives me a way to like, because like someone like you don't go on a camera and fucking talk to a camera 24/7. Most people don't. Most people don't have like a fucking vlog or anything like this. And so the people who like your comedy don't really know you. They just see your comedy. And so what a podcast does is it gives you an opportunity for people to get to know you. Right. Even for me, like for my music, I know who I am and I know I'm a cool dude, but people who hear my songs don't know that. And then I can fucking just throw on a camera and bring people in, and now people get to know me. And like even Joe Rogan, I don't even listen to his stand-up. I don't watch Joe Rogan stand-up, but I do watch his podcast.
And you could probably name a bunch of shit about him that like that, whatever, like, you know, you could probably name shit about his life.
Exactly. I know things about that guy that his children probably don't even know.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Like you were saying, he does a good job of making people open up.
Exactly.
Like one thing I remember, he had the guy from Metallica on, James Hetfield. Yeah. And like he was talking about like bees and shit the whole time. I don't know if you've listened to that one.
I haven't.
Yeah. He was talking about he has like a bee farmer, and he was talking about like farming bees for like 30 minutes. People were like, wow, really? You had like one of the biggest rock stars ever on. He was just talking about bees the whole time. But that's what makes it cool.
That's what makes it cool.
Because like any other interviewer would be like, oh, like, so tell me how it was playing in front of like 50,000 people or whatever. It's kind of like they hear the same questions all the time, but you've let them. That's the thing. When you let somebody talk about the shit that they find interesting, I think that's what makes it good. Because if you like regular interviewers just ask the same questions over and over and over, then you have someone like Rogan who's like, okay, just talk to me about what you feel like talking to me about. It's just like you said, it's just a conversation. He doesn't sit there with like, I mean, same thing. You don't do that, right? You don't have like prepared questions for people, right?
I've done it sometimes if I'm worried like it might not go well, or if it was like a bigger guest, maybe I would. But a lot of people, like hey man, recently,
what are you trying to say?
What's that?
What are you trying to say? Bigger guest? Hey man,
I'm talking like fucking if
Bernie Sanders is on here.
Yeah, if I had Bernie Sanders in this room, I would be a little bit nervous. I'd be like, okay, I can't talk about mushrooms and weed this whole time. We're going to have to come up with something.
Maybe. I think Theo Von had him on. I think they were talking about like, just like, or Theo Von had Trump on. They were talking about like, Theo Von was talking about doing coke and shit. Yeah.
But maybe that is the way to do it. Like maybe don't have questions.
I think at the end of the day, you just got to be yourself.
Yeah.
That's why Theo Von is cool, because he just feels like he's just like being himself.
Yep. And I was going to say, Theo Von recently had Mr. Beast on, and he actually did have questions for Mr. Beast, which I was surprised to see. He did like pull out a list of questions. He tried not to do it, and then he started pulling out questions. I think it just depends on like, Maybe it's a good idea to prepare questions like just in case, like things aren't running
convo
smoothly.
slows down, maybe.
Yeah, but it just depends on the person too. Like if it's like a giant guest, if it's like a big pull and you're worried like this has to be good, maybe then it's time. Like I had a realtor on this podcast a few episodes ago, Tony Angelos, and I was thinking beforehand like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go, and so I went on his YouTube, I found some shit, I came up with questions. I'm good at coming up with questions. That's like when I learned that when I was doing the 60 seconds with thing. Like I can get good questions for people, and they'll be like, "Whoa, wow," you know. But if it's a good conversation, a podcast is different than an interview. Sometimes people come in expecting an interview, and I feel like I didn't give it to them, you know. But it really it's just feeling it out, yeah. Because you never know. You and I think that because Joe Rogan does that, like that kind of shows other people how you can do it, like. And really what he's doing is just doing what he would normally do. Like, that's how he would normally converse with somebody. Yeah, it's not like he's putting on a show and trying to pull it out of him.
Which is, like, literally the reason why I think it's so successful. Because, like, everything else is just, like question, answer. He just sits there. Like, people don't even know, like, oh, we started already? Like, yeah, we started.
Exactly.
He's talking. He's, like, swearing, smoking weed, drinking, just, like, fucking around, making jokes, like, just shooting the shit. Because that's, like, what two people would do.
There's not enough of that. I don't think there's enough of that. I think that there's something cool about that, the reality of that, of just presenting what someone is normally like. Because even a lot of podcasts, people will start podcasts and you can tell they're kind of rigid, like they don't really know what they're supposed to do.
Or they're on, like they're in that mode of like I should be saying funny stuff right now, or like I'm kind of like riffing and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Because people shit on Rogan that he doesn't get jokes. Like he doesn't
but
really.
That's what makes him work.
He doesn't really riff. Like
exactly.
Like people like jokes go over his head all the time. Like Theo Von will make some joke and he'll be like he won't understand it, or like he'll just like not laugh at it. But I think that's what makes him kind of what he is. Like that's what makes it who he is.
But I can understand what they're saying because he is a comedian.
Yeah,
but
they say he's like the unfunniest comedian ever on a podcast.
Just happens to have the most literal.
Successful. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah. He'll be like, oh really? You did that? Like, no, I was.
Theo Von will be like, some days I feel like a turtle, and they'll be like, really? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Do you actually? Yeah.
Really? Tell me more. Well, I don't know. I just can't come out my shell. Oh, really? Well, like maybe you should talk to somebody about that, Theo. Like, just get real into the weeds.
Yeah.
But what he's doing, or what people are missing, is that's the conversationalist in him that's able to keep things moving forward. It's the same, like by taking it serious and by taking it at face value, you are keeping the conversation moving forward. And people just have different versions of that. Somebody's podcast that's the exact opposite, that does the exact opposite thing that I really like, I'd recommend it, is Harland Williams' podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I like Harland Williams.
He's the bomb, dude.
You saw the one with Andrew Santino?
Yeah.
He squirts like the lotion on his face. Yeah. That was funny.
Good shit.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But Harland's the best at just riffing nonstop. But not everybody. Most people aren't that way.
Yeah, and some people don't like that.
Some people don't like
some
that.
People are just like, they're like, what is this kind of like? You saw the one of Anthony Jeselnik?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They're talking about like silence, like the sound of silence or whatever. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I like Harland Williams.
I like Harland a lot.
I've been to see him. I've been meaning to see him do stand up live, but I've never gotten the chance.
Funny enough, I found out about him through his podcast. I didn't even know of him beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably did.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was a comedian. I know him from like a couple movie roles, like, Half Baked, or like what's the one where he plays like the cop in that one movie? The Jim Carrey movie or whatever, yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I've never, I forget how, have you seen him on Rogan?
Yeah.
Where he's talking about like having like a worm inside him or whatever,
As soon as that episode came out.
Motherfucker, man. He's funny though.
Yeah, he's so goofy. As soon as that episode came out, I remember thinking like, how is this going to go?
Yeah.
Because it's like what we were just saying. They're kind of opposites. Like Joe Rogan takes shit serious.
And then the Harland was literally like the whole thing's just one big bit.
And I knew that going in. So I'm like, how is Joe Rogan going to handle this?
Yeah, and he was kind of getting pissed.
You could tell stop eating celery in the microphone.
Yeah.
It was funny at first.
It's hilarious.
Cut it out. But like that type of shit, it's really, I think a lot of it is mastering, like a good podcast is learning how you can use your personality the right way, right? Like Theo Von is really good at just being himself and saying whatever the fuck, to the point where he can talk about doing coke with Donald Trump. You just have to figure out what it is that you are and what you do, and then cultivate that into its own thing. And if you can do it and you know who you are, like, I think comedians have a great opportunity for that. Like, there's a reason that most podcasts are comedians, because they're talking on microphones, cultivating their personality all the fucking time. That's their job, is to find a way to kind of harness what that is.
Right.
And so they already kind of got a head start. And that's one thing I really learned when I started having comedians on this podcast when I moved here and I started doing this, is because before it was like with musicians and all that, you're kind of pulling stuff out of them a little more, whereas a comedian is a little bit more like, you know,
they don't mind fucking around and talking.
Yeah, they want to riff with you, and they want to be like, they want to have some fun. Whereas, like, you know, somebody else in a different profession might be a little bit, they're not thinking like that.
Yeah, you said you had a realtor on?
Yeah, he was a really cool guy though.
Yeah.
Tony Angelos is his name. He's got like 12,000 followers on Instagram.
How did that happen?
He actually, I bought this microphone from him on Facebook Marketplace.
That's hilarious.
And it's always something random in life, right? And when I met him, I remember he said like he bought it for his own podcast, and he ended up only doing like a couple episodes. And so I handed my business card. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I've got a podcast if you want to come on sometime, blah, 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 blah. And then I just reached back out to him, and then he came on. But
you know, it's funny. I was just talking with a comedian about starting a podcast. Actually,
you should do it, man.
We randomly just like I brought it up jokingly, and then like she messaged me, asked me about it. Like, were you serious about starting that podcast? And I was like, you know what? You know, why not? Let's do it.
Just what I would say is, it's just like how you started comedy. Like, just start. Like, don't think about it and ponder over it. And, oh, well, what if? Like, you just have to do it, because through doing it, you learn more than you would ever by just thinking about it. Like, I think you get better and better and better and better over time, just like any art form, just like any, I was going to say trade, but it's like, you know, like I said, music is like comedy in that way. Like, where you might think you're good at music in your first year, but then 2 years later you look back and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I was just talking to my friend about this too, even because I used to do like MMA and like jiu-jitsu and shit. And even then it's like, because I'm almost 30 now, but I got into it like a little bit too late. Like, I wish I would have started when I was like 16 or what. I started doing it when I was like right around 20. And even then it's one of those things where like you have a ceiling as like a physical specimen where it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it is
like,
right around 30, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean, like even then, it's like, okay, if I would have kept going, maybe eventually do like, you know, get some fights or this, that, whatever. But it just becomes like a thing of like, whereas like, okay, comedy is one of those things where like, as long as if you can talk, if you have like a functioning brain, doesn't matter. You could be 30, 40, 50, 60. You could keep doing it forever.
Yeah.
Where it's like physical shit. It's like, you know, you have like a thing where it's like, you have to be by a certain thing at a certain time, and then it's like, okay, let's say I do get to the UFC by the time I'm 35 or some shit, and then what, have a couple fights and retire. It's like, what is the point? It feels like a big waste of time. Comedy, it's like, realistically, if I'm still alive, if I, you know, I could do this shit forever.
Yeah,
so it feels like it's like a never-ending story. Like the book doesn't close until I fucking die, basically. You know, because I'm not gonna stop.
There's only a few things like that. Like comedy, music,
yeah.
maybe like being an author. There's a few things where it's like if you don't pick it up, you can pick it up whenever, and you can make it a thing whenever.
Yeah.
But like a lot of that physical shit, if you start too late, even going back to skating, it's kind of hard
even now it's like, yeah, dude. Sometimes my knees will just hurt just for no reason.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, I feel like if I started skating, I'll probably break an ankle. I think I probably would.
You know what blows my mind is because Tony Hawk's got a fucking podcast now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Hawk and Wolf or whatever.
Yeah.
Jason, what's his name? Jason, the bald guy with like all the head tattoos.
Jason Ellis.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good podcast. And again, though, going back to what I was just saying, you go watch those first few episodes, it's all right. But they've gotten a lot better at it throughout time. And they just had an episode with, I've never heard of this skater before. His name's Andy Anderson. He's pretty popular. And he had him and Rodney Mullen, the fucking legend.
Yeah, the godfather of skateboarding.
The godfather. Yeah. It's amazing that Rodney Mullen is still fucking around. He's probably like one of my dream guests for a show like this.
He literally like invented like almost every trick that people even know about. Like he invented a kickflip.
Yep.
I think I don't know. Did he invent the ollie? Maybe. And actually, I'm not sure. I think ollie was somebody else.
That's a good question.
I think their ollie was named after a guy
Jamie
named
looked
Ollie.
that up.
I think ollie was actually named after some guy named Ollie, but he invented like a kickflip, basically he invented like almost every flip trick, all these ground tricks. Like he was like the first street skateboarder, really.
Even he was the first person to ever like master freestyling, freestyle skating.
I think he invented a dark slide. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Where it's like where you like grind on the grip tape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is fucking nuts.
Oh, dude, those if you go and watch like Rodney Mullen, like I forget, he used to skate for this company called Almost, where it'd be like you watch like his parts in like Almost round 1, round 2, or he had like this thing where it was like Mullen versus like there's this guy called Day One Song, where it's like him and Rodney Mullen would do like these things. They would like compete versus each other, like to like who had the better parts. Like, bro, some of his shit is insane. Like the way he does like, you know what you don't know much about skating. There's like this thing called a Casper flip, where it's like you like spin, so you're like skating, right? You spin the skateboard, like you flip it around like that, and then you like slide on the tail while it's like that. Like it's like yeah, it's watch his old
would on like flat ground?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's called a Casper slide. That's what it's called. Look up Rodney Mullen Casper slide. That's like dark. Yeah, it's incredible.
I know he was the Impossible too. That was him. Was the Impossible?
Yeah.
Probably all those flip tricks though, like you said. Probably fucking
I
most
love
of
Rodney.
them.
I love watching old skate videos. That's like one of my favorite things. Is like watching old like used to be this company called Black Label. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They have like some, I forget, some tape from like 2000, 2001. It like I watch it sometimes just because it's like nostalgic. I had it when I was like a little kid, and yeah, even all those like because so Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, they had like a thing where if you beat the game with the character, it would like unlock like their little like skate reel.
Oh yeah, right.
So yeah. So if like sometimes I'll still go on YouTube and Google like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 like reels or like whatever, and it'll be like all the different.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
I forgot. I actually forgot about that.
Yeah. Like all of Rodney Mullen's ones from those are insane. Like the soundtracks of those games are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first one, the soundtrack to the first one is great. It's like the Dead Kennedys and
like fucking Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of, it was punk rock and like Frank Sinatra and all that kind of shit. Like there, I think that like, why did I even bring that up? Tony Hawk. Just, I think that like somebody, oh shit, dude, I can't even remember.
You're saying how they got better and better?
Oh yeah, they got better and better and better. Well, I guess just, going back to the podcast thing. I mean, like you just got to start it. I mean, are you serious about starting it? Like, are you really thinking about it?
Yeah. I think she already has like mics and shit she was saying.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, yeah, that's the basic. That's the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's the thing I was telling her. I was like, because we were like, I think we were like drunk, or I was drunk at least, talking like kind of like fucking around about it. And then she messaged me saying like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, I don't know anything about the technology part, but like I'm down to commit the time and like and then we were talking about what would we name it and stuff. I was like, I don't think that really matters that much what we name it. It's like I think the main thing is the commitment to the time. I mean, like, okay, are you actually down to like do it once or twice a week or whatever? I'm down for that. I just don't know how to set everything up because I'm kind of stupid when it comes to like technology.
Yeah.
So I don't know like anything about like RSS feeds or anything like that.
Well, I'll say that the way that they have it now, hopefully it stays this way.
It's like simpler than ever.
It's so easy, dude.
Okay.
And, there used to be this thing called Anchor.fm, but it got bought by Spotify. So I think now it's just called Spotify for Creators, I think is what it's called. But literally, that's how I upload this podcast. We just record it, and I use this software I'm recording on right now to edit the audio, make it sound all nice, and then I post it. And on YouTube, I just post the video, but on Spotify, it's just the audio. And Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places, it puts it everywhere. So it's super easy to get it on the streaming platforms, and it's free. It doesn't even cost money.
Okay.
And then
we're gonna for sure do it.
Exactly.
If you could be a guest one day,
dude, please. Yeah, I'd love to be on. Yeah, I'll shout this episode out. I'll say this is where it all began.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
But it's just like, is that what you want to do? You just want to have guests on and stuff like that?
See, we didn't even talk about it. If it was just gonna be us two riffing, she's also obviously a comedian, or if we're just gonna be like getting guests, I would maybe like do the first one with no guests and then start getting guests. It'd be cool to get guests because I feel like then you have like that dynamic of like, because like I feel like how many can you do just two people? Even like something like Fire and the Kid has guests. That's why like I don't get how like a lot of people commend like a guy like Bill Burr who just like will talk by himself for an hour every episode. Oh yeah, well he has guests sometimes, but usually not. Yeah, usually like he just rants. Even then he had like what's his name, Ben or whatever, the guy who left. Like that show I guess has kind of fell off ever since that guy left.
I think
like
it's picked back up. Okay. I think there was a period where it wasn't the same.
He was really funny. He was like always laughing at his shit, like you were saying. Like when people laugh, he would always say something, and then Ben would be laughing.
He was the one I liked.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't overdoing it. It wasn't.
Have you listened to his
forced.
podcast, like Lemon Party or whatever?
No,
yeah,
I
me
didn't know
neither.
he had one.
Yeah, he has one. I've never listened to it, but I know he has one.
I'd be interested because I mean, there's a reason that Tim Dillon and Ben were friends. They probably think similarly.
He would like talk shit about like his wife and shit. You remember that? Like he was saying like he wasn't invited to their wedding or whatever because like his wife didn't like Tim.
Dude, I'm pretty sure like the fallout probably actually there was probably a lot of truth in all of those things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It probably was not a happy scene.
His wife was probably like, he talks shit about me all the time on the podcast. Like, how are you gonna let? Yeah. You know how wives are.
You're letting him fucking make you look like a bitch.
You know how women are. They love to come between people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Gotta love them.
I mean.
There's going to be a woman that comes in between you and I one day. It'll happen someday somehow.
Yeah.
It's like a principle of life. Yeah. If two guys are bros, there's going to be a woman in the middle somehow.
God damn it.
It's in the Bible, dude.
Yeah.
But, yeah, really the guest thing, the other thing about that, too, is like, for one, it provides more, like, because if it's just you two talking, yeah, you can only do that for so long. Unless you have, like, a target, like, you know what you're doing. Like, but even then, like, usually it ends up being guests, even when people do that. Like, History Hyenas, if you've heard of that podcast.
Yeah, Chris Stefano.
Yeah.
It's back, right? Because, like, remember,
finally.
That's the thing, too. They had, like, a breakup. They kind of, like, they were, like, talking
A
shit about each other.
breakup.
Yeah, right? And then I was surprised to see that they're back. I thought it was, like, an old clip. But then it's like, oh, they're actually back. Because, like, they were going through a phase where, like, Giannis Papas were, like, kind of talking shit about Chris Stefano, saying like, oh, he left, he didn't want to do it anymore.
That is what happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because Chris Stefano, he
got too big time.
Yeah,
he blew up, and then Giannis is still doing clubs. Stefano's doing fucking theaters, so he's kind of like he's the A side for sure.
But in the end, it probably just played out whereas like Chris Stefano wasn't as happy trying to do all this Hollywood shit.
Yeah,
and Giannis Papas wasn't really. His career trajectory kind of changed after History Hyenas died off, and like he had his own show. I think it used to be called something else, but now it's called the Giannis Papas Hour. I think is what it's called. I love Giannis. I think he's really funny.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that like they just both found out it's like a real breakup. They broke up and then they realized they were happier together all along.
Yeah,
it's nice to see them back together. But what I was gonna say is that they weren't doing guests for a while, and then eventually the show became a show that brought people on and had guests. And I think what happens is it just gives you more of a pull, right? Like if I were to sit here and talk to this microphone, you know, who's going to watch it? Whereas if I sit here and bring on different guests all the time, you're naturally going to bring in new people all the time.
Yeah.
Like now I can maybe do a solo episode, but if I just only did solo episodes,
or like you said, once in a while, do a solo one. Like for every like 5 or 10 guests, do a solo, then that's different. But yeah,
Theo Von, that's another person who he started doing solos, and then now he usually has guests on, but he does a solo episode
once in a while.
Yeah.
I like Theo Von.
Yep, I like Theo a lot. Yeah.
Same thing too. I don't know. I think you could tell too, he kind of let the fame, everything sort of get to him too. Like he used to be a little more like down to earth. Now I think you can kind of tell he's a little like, I don't want to say full of himself, but like, you know, I don't know. He's cool though. Me and my buddy saw him at Laugh Factory in 2018 before he was even, that was the last time he was in Chicago where he wasn't at Chicago Theater.
Nice.
So like that was his last ever Chicago club set was over there. Cause like and then he was back 2 or 3 years later. He did Chicago Theater. Me and my buddy Alan saw him in Laugh Factory. We have pictures with him, and he told us we look like the world's weakest gang. Yeah.
I can't remember what I must have seen him. I think I saw him the same year as you. I think I saw Theo back in 2018
at a club.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was in Detroit, and it was a pretty big venue. It might have been 2019, but it was still like he was nowhere near as popular as.
Oh
he is now.
yeah. One of the things that kind of blew him up was going on Fighter and the Kid. That's what from what I remember.
Oh yeah.
Because he was like went on there a few times, and he was like, that's when they had like a bigger pull.
It was King and the Sting for a minute too. That was him.
Well,
and
Brendan Schaub, yeah.
But that was after Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah, that was after Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. King and the Sting. I haven't heard that in years, dude. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I think Theo pulled a lot of good out of Brendan Schaub. Like,
well, and then him and Brendan Schaub,
dynamic.
like, they're like not friends anymore either. Like they kind of had like a public breakup too.
Oh, I don't know much about that.
Yeah,
drama.
they're like, because he left King of the Sting, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he was just doing too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's like, bro, he's like, I think his podcast is like more than the top 10 on Spotify.
Yeah.
Like he's up there.
And now it's like to the point where it's just like Joe Rogan. You bring him up to a casual person, and most people know who Theo Von is.
And a lot of people are even complaining, saying that Theo Von has better guests on now than Rogan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's funny how that happened.
Theo just fucking had that dude he played Bob Dylan in that movie.
Chalamet.
What is that?
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Have you seen that movie?
No, did you?
No, I was gonna go.
I've heard it's good.
Really? Yeah.
That's what I've heard, but I don't trust anybody anymore.
I'm not a big fan of that Timothy guy.
I don't know.
He's
all
man.
right. I
that's
don't.
That's what movie stars are supposed to be now. Just that. I don't know, man. I'm not a huge. I'm not. See, I'm not. This is not me being a hater. I just think I don't know, man. I just can. Can he just be a little more masculine, please?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
He didn't. It wasn't him that wore a dress a few years ago on the red carpet, was it? I don't think.
I think it was Harry Styles.
It was Harry Styles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I hear you though. I don't understand that whole thing. Because he is kind of like he's got big theater kid energy. Yeah, but you know what? Like I at least think that he's still like watching him in interviews and shit like that.
No, yeah, he seems chill.
Cool dude.
Yeah. He seems cool.
So at least in that sense, you know,
he was on like that one college football thing. He was like predicting teams.
Yeah,
people were saying he actually knows about football and shit,
which is cool.
Yeah, and then
cool
some people are saying, oh, he's an actor. Somebody just told him what teams to pick or whatever. I don't know.
Even then, though, like most actors aren't going out and participating in that shit.
Have you seen Wicked?
No. But then again, I don't trust shit. Like people will tell me Wicked is good. I bet you I will hate it.
I saw it with a chick. It was.
You like it or?
I liked it. I liked
you
it.
did?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Really?
I just went there obviously just because
I'm surprised. Maybe I would like it.
It was cool. It was cool. I don't know. It's like
Are you picky with movies at all?
I wouldn't say picky. No. I like Ariana. Dude, Ariana Grande is so fucking hot in that movie.
Is she? I feel like she looks a lot different than she.
She does look different, but like for whatever reason, like she just like I don't know what it is, like her little like face and like she's like she has blonde hair. Oh man, she's so like she's just like because people say she's got too skinny. Like when you see her on the red carpet, she looks skinny. Like she looks weird. But then in the movie, I don't know. She's very like has a very like cute face. I don't know. Yeah, I like her. She's hot.
This is why you liked the movie.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean that was a big part. Like I was like, Jesus Christ, you forget. And the singing was fine.
Yeah, Ariana Grande, I really liked her music back in like 2016, 2018. I actually really liked it. I think like as a female singer, like she kind of did like when she was with Mac Miller and all that. That's kind of my favorite point of time for her music. Like I was dating a girl at the time that liked her music a lot, so I had to listen to a lot of it. But I remember thinking like, this is not bad.
Yeah.
For like a female pop artist, this is something I would actually like.
I could not even name you one song that she has.
Oh, like I'm so fucking grateful for my or thank you next, that song about how she likes
maybe.
all her exes.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I haven't been like that's my problem is I haven't listened to popular music in like the last 10 years.
Hey, good.
I just listen to shit that's like old.
Hey, that's
like
probably
my whole playlist is just like Zeppelin and like Soundgarden and like Pearl Jam and shit.
That is the shit I like. I like older music a lot more than newer music. Yeah.
You like 90s shit?
Yeah.
That's like
Nirvana. I loved Nirvana in middle school and high school.
Me too. I was huge in Nirvana, and then like I discovered those other bands that are like kind of I wouldn't say better, but just a little more like I don't know, because like Alice in Chains, or like Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. I feel like those are like you start off with Nirvana, and then like you kind of make your way to those in like a weird way. Even though Nirvana is obviously the way more famous one, and like they sold more albums, but I think those other bands are like have a little more like. I don't want to say substance because Nirvana is great, but just like some of those songs I've heard so many times, like I can't listen to Nevermind anymore. Yeah, I've heard Smells Like Teen Spirit so many times, or like In Bloom, or like Come As You Are, which is like I can't. It's just like it's one of those things where it's like even like with Stairway to Heaven, like I skip it on every playlist because it's just like it's too. I've heard it too many times.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Things get played out in that way, yeah, and it's like I even, what's funny is even Kurt Cobain felt that way about Nirvana.
I know about the whole,
like he didn't like their success because he could see that happening in real time.
He hated playing Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yep. Yeah. But I'm sure it's like all those songs. He probably, because he knew deep down, these people don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like they like me because of this version of Nirvana and Kurt Cobain they've created. They have no idea. To the point where there's a song on Nevermind that's like, he's the one who likes all our pretty songs.
Yeah, that's In Bloom.
That's what that song is talking about.
No, I know,
It's literally saying that.
Yeah.
Like you listen to this music and you think you know what we're saying, but you're actually doing the exact fucking opposite, but you don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that he was tortured by his creativity. And like I said earlier about how like, creative people are crazy. Like he was he's a great fucking example of that. Where it drove him mad that fucking he was so creative and people just boxed him into this rock star character.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that though. I think he's also like basically bipolar from what I've heard.
Yeah,
and he also their whole thing how he had like a stomach problem. That's why he started doing the heroin because that's what I've heard different stories. Some people have said he just made that up to have an excuse to do heroin. But then some people have said like ever since he was a kid, he always had like stomach pain and shit, and like nothing would make it go away other than the heroin. So then like I've heard that before, which is like, I don't know. I've always wanted to try heroin, by the way. Do you have any? Do you have really?
I've never tried it, but I've always wanted to.
I've always wanted to.
But you know what? That's how you know we both are like straight up fucking addicts that can never touch it. Is because we would want to, and we'd probably love it. You know?
Like if you had, I don't know if I would mainline it, but if you had like powder, I would do a line right now on camera even.
I wouldn't do it, but only because I know I would always want to do it forever afterwards.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I feel like with that, I feel like truthfully with that, I think I could do it once and not crave it.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking wishfully, sir.
Oh man, just like that's one of those things where it's like I'm not gonna go seek it out. Like I'm like that with food. So like if it's like late at night, if I have food at my house, I will eat it. Like if I have an ice cream, I'll have a pint of ice cream. I will eat it. Doesn't matter, like a bag of beef jerky, whatever it is. But if it's not there, I'm not gonna go out of my way to go get it. Or like I'm not gonna deliver Grubhub at like 2 a.m. I just won't. So like that's my limit. I think with heroin, I could try heroin and not do it again, just to see what it feels like.
But the thing about
I'm not gonna go to the west side and go buy it.
But no heroin addict started like that. They all said the same shit as you, and then they tried it once, and they were like, "Oh fuck, that was the best."
No, that's true. That's true. Even with cigarettes, I started bumming them outside of open mics. And then like one day I'm like, I'm gonna get a pack, and I bought a pack, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna smoke at open mics when I'm drinking. And then next thing you know, I'm smoking. I'm like, you know what? I'll have one during the day. Next thing you know, I'm smoking like 5 during the day. Like I've had like on my way to your to your podcast, I had like 4.
That's why I can't touch them.
Just like before I got on the bus, at the red line, walking from the red line to your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought that would happen.
My problem with all that shit, dude, is what fucking drives me nuts is I just hate the fact that I know my brain works that way. I hate that like I'll do it and then it'll be what I think about. It'll be what I'm thinking about. I'll be sitting here talking to you and then I'll be thinking like, damn, I could use a cigarette.
You know, my problem is like I think I have the same thing as you, but I have like for whatever reason I can like turn it off and just be like, okay. Cause like even like bro, like in the last few months, just like drinking, like going to open mics and taking lifts and Ubers, like I've spent like fucking like thousands of dollars, bro. But like I have like this thing where it's like at first it was kind of like it was like I used to be really like okay, where it's like oh fuck, like I would feel every little thing, and I just for some reason I just like turned off that button in my head. I'm like okay, and it doesn't matter anymore. Same thing with like cigarettes or drinking. It's like I know it's not great, but for whatever reason I can kind of just like. I can like press that button in my head. I'll be like, all right, what doesn't matter? Who cares? And then like I can just kind of go. But then like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know, man. You think you've always been like self-destructive in a way, or yeah? Because even now, like I was telling my buddy this. Like I never thought I would live to this age. So like I think it's always been like one of those things where it's like I was like 16 years old saying I'm not gonna live to 20. Then I was like 20 saying I'm not gonna live to 30. Then 25 and now I'm about to turn 30 in a couple months. I still don't know if I will, but. what I'm saying is like I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's like I don't. It's hard. It's when I see people truthfully looking like to the future. I get a little jealous because I'm like, damn, like you can actually like when people who have like retirement plans and shit. I'm like, oh, you're actually thinking about like living to 65. Fucking good for you, buddy. Yeah. Because like I don't know.
I've had that problem for a long fucking time, dude. I think part of it is that I just love. I'm so in the moment wherever I am at all times.
Same thing like you were talking about earlier about how like getting nervous or like looking forward to stuff. Even with that, like I have like a show on Saturday. I haven't thought about it at all. I'll think about it on Saturday morning. Like I haven't thought about what set I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get there, what time I'm gonna get there, whatever. What I do is like even like I wake up. And I think, what am I doing today? Okay, today I'm going to do your podcast. Then after here, I might go to Red Room because it's and then like maybe after that go somewhere else. Then maybe go whatever. And it's like I'm not thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow or Saturday or a year from now. Where I'm literally thinking about what am I going to do today? Yeah. And then I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll be hungover, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do today. That's like I can only do that because when I was like looking forward, it should be like, oh, like I have the show on Saturday. Oh, there's gonna be like 100 people there. Oh fuck, like what jokes am I gonna do? Whatever. It's like it would fuck me up, and like looking too much in the future, like not being present. I think that really fucked me up. Once I could like get to a place where I'm just like, okay, like what am I gonna do today? I'm gonna wake up, drink coffee, I'm gonna go do fucking Ruse. You know what I'm saying? And then it sounds like I'm gonna fuck you. Yeah. Ruse Radio, the podcast, and then
it'll be after the show, like Adam 22's fucking.
Oh, dude, how he like interviews him and then fucks him after? That's insane. That's insane. That guy gets a lot of shit too. They're like, everyone talks shit about like, oh, you just let your wife fuck these black dudes and shit. It's like, come on, man.
Hey, he's a hustler, baby.
Yeah, no, for real. And why is it always that like, I've never gotten that. Why is it always so much worse if a black dude fucks your wife than just a regular guy?
There's got to be something.
Is it like because they got bigger cocks?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Can we swear on here? I feel like I'm. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Have I swore yet? Man, then if we went this far without swearing, then we're
You're
Christian
gonna the
boys.
vaccine shit in the middle. We're gonna get banned, and then swearing, talking about Adam 22.
Yeah.
I just feel like whenever I look too far ahead, I feel like it doesn't do anything good for me. It's just like literally what am I doing that day, and just worry about today. Because tomorrow, like they say tomorrow's not guaranteed. It's not even to say that, but just like. What's the difference? Like, I don't know. Looking forward too much, I don't think it helps me. Personally.
I think you need to I think it's a balance, right? Like, and that's the only way that you ever really move forward is if you find a way to live for today in a way that benefits tomorrow.
Okay.
Like by going to those shows and doing those shows, but thinking where it can take you.
Right.
That's but not getting ahead of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that's where that magic spot is.
Like I have a calendar where I have if I book a show on Instagram or through email, I'll write it down. I have a calendar. I'll have it'll be February. I'll circle the 12th or the 20th or whatever. So I do technically look forward, but just I don't think about it.
Exactly.
It's just that's in February. It might as well be in fucking 2030 compared to today.
You never even think of that set on that show is going to be a 10-minute set. I at least need to know what the fuck I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm at a point where it's I have 15 minutes I could just do anywhere or 20. So it's I don't really necessarily think about that. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's good for you because I think when I started reading, the first book I ever really read that really enlightened me to what reading can do was a fucking Zen Buddhism book. And the whole philosophy of Zen Buddhism is to learn to stop thinking in terms of outside of this moment and what things could be and this and that and separating everything and thinking holistically instead and thinking just here right now and allowing yourself to exist in that because that is truly where life is right here, right now. There's not fucking life tomorrow. Tomorrow's doesn't actually exist. Mm-hmm. Yesterday doesn't actually exist. Only right now is what actually exists.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way shit fucking is. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
There's no escape from that. And so I think it's actually closer to reality to be like that than it is to be the person constantly fucking planning. That's really probably the root of anxiety and the root of all these things.
That is true. Yeah. Worrying about what's even with death. Yep. A lot of people are scared of dying or they're scared of my parents are getting older or this, that, whatever. It's one of those things where it's what are you going to do? It happens. I don't know.
You can only control what's in your control.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's a certain blissfulness in that and just being okay with where things are right now. Cat Williams, there was a video of him golfing and he said something if the ball doesn't make it in, it wasn't supposed to make it in.
That's true.
That was the way it was supposed to go. The wind carried it that way, and that means that next time I will learn from that.
That's true. He's a fucking smart guy. He might as well be a philosopher. Some of the shit he says.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a total Zen Buddhist way to look at it. It's a philosophically enlightened way to look at it. Is to just say that whatever it was meant to be, and we can learn from it and move forward from it, rather than getting caught up on it and getting fucking pissed off about it. And one thing I keep fucking doing is. Because I go through this process all the time. We all go through this where we'll get on ourselves about dumb shit. The last 2 episodes of this podcast, the person will leave and I'll realize, oh damn it, I forgot to take a picture with them. Because you always got to take a picture because then it gives you a whole fucking thing. You can post it. You can be like, hey, this episode's coming up, blah, 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 blah. And I'll get on myself about it to the point where I'll be sitting there thinking about it for fucking 10 minutes. You fucking idiot. Why did you not take that picture?
Yeah.
But it's so stupid, dude. Who the fuck cares? And also, just take it next time. Just take it next time. What are you learning? You're learning to take the picture next time. But we all just beat ourselves up over dumb fucking shit.
There's some comedy rule about that. How they say I forget who said it. It's the 12 p.m. rule or the 10. I forget what it's called. But basically saying no matter if you had a horrible set or an amazing set, don't think about it anymore past noon of the next day. So it's you could have which I don't even know if it's that. It might be I forget what this even midnight, whatever. Where it's all right, let's say you have a show at 7 o'clock. Let's say you do horrible. For those next 5 hours, you be, oh fuck, that sucked, whatever. I'm kind of pissed, whatever. Once midnight hits, it's all right, that was yesterday. and like tomorrow's today, whatever. Or even if you have like an amazing, because that's the thing too. I think it's even better to say that, because people have like they'll crush a show. They'll be like, oh, that was fucking amazing. I'm the shit. I'm so great. And then they'll fucking think like, and then like the next time they'll bomb, they'll be like, it'll like shatter their confidence, dude. Like I know some people who they get on a couple shows, they're doing like a couple shows here and there, whatever. They stop going to open mics, and then you ask them why are you stop going to open mics? They're like, oh, because I don't want to ruin my confidence. Like, what does that even fucking mean, dude? Like me and my buddy were just talking about this other comedian friend that we know. He like doesn't go to open mics anymore. I'm like what is that? Like, do you think you're too fucking good for open mics? Like, I don't know, man. I don't agree with that philosophy. For me, it's like the more I can do it, the better.
Yeah.
Like I did 40 sets in November. I think I did like 30 in December, which 30 is not that crazy. That's like one a night. But then, I think the more I'm doing it, the more comfortable I feel. I'm sure same thing with rapping. Like if you just fucking like rap like a couple hours a day, you're gonna feel better compared to like I just
once a week.
Well, yeah, exactly. Do you just like you'll just like sit here and just like start rapping to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, freestyling is great for that. Freestyling is really good at just getting yourself in like the mode of like a flow state per se. I've even heard when I had Matt Bowe on this podcast.
Matt Bowe's on it.
Yeah, he's gonna be. His episode's not out as we record this, but he's like the next one that comes out.
Nice.
And he was talking about how he would freestyle with his comedian friends on the way to shows for them to kind of loosen up. And that's even that makes perfect sense to me. Where it's like you're kind of you're allowing yourself to flow, and I think like freestyling is it's the same principles as improv, even where you have to go with whatever the fuck is you just said. You have to yes and yourself and just be okay with it and just keep moving. You have to do it. And I think like that lesson is a universal lesson you can use in all of life, to just yes and shit and just accept shit the way it is and add to it and be constructive. They can be used anywhere. But like freestyling really teaches you that, and it loosens you up in that way. And so in my mind, if I don't write something like every couple days, like I'm slacking. And again, like I'll see musicians where their head's not completely like in the game, or like you'll see these fucking TikTok musicians now where it's like they just want to make one song and have one song go viral, and they'll make like one song every 3 months, and they'll just post the same
like
shit.
The same song over and over. I see that on Instagram a lot too. Yeah.
Drives me nuts, dude. Because like, if you have 10 songs and you're promoting one of them, whatever, like you have 10 songs.
You literally just only have one song.
Just make one fucking song every few months. You are not doing it. Like you're not doing. That's not what a normal musician does.
Yeah, that's true. That's like someone who wants to get famous.
Yeah, same thing with like what you're saying with comedians who don't go to open mics. Like that's not what a comic does. A comic goes to open mics and polishes their material and tries to get better. If you're a musician, you have to constantly be fucking practicing and especially songwriting. I think songwriting is a true art form. Yeah. And you never really master it, just like you never really master comedy. Yeah. There's always something to learn and get better at. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. You play any instruments?
I played keyboard for a little bit. I like to play drums, but beyond that, not really. I'd like to learn. I would like to learn instruments because I think it's the same kind of thing. I think if you can become well versed enough with an instrument, it almost becomes an extension of yourself. Right. Just like a great skateboarder can the skateboard's like a part of
like them. Hendrix with a guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like for me, that's what my voice is. My voice is the instrument that I can play as an extension of myself, but it'd be cool to have something else to throw on there. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever rap on the podcast?
I have. Yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes like when I because I used to have more musicians on here, it would be fun to throw on a beat and just fucking freestyle. Yeah. Nice. But like to have headphones would really make that work a lot better. Nice, obviously.
Nice. I'm not. Don't worry. I'm not asking you to. I was just wondering.
I'll do it. I mean, fuck. But yeah, it's I just think like, it's just like anything else where you just want to keep fucking doing it all the time. And if you're not doing it, then you're not getting better and you're not going to improve. And I even say like for comedians, for musicians, for anybody who's like creatively using their mind, it actually helps a lot just to write anything, to write essays, to write a journal, anything. Because you're putting your thoughts down. I even heard Joe Rogan say once that the way he creates a bit, he will just fucking write on a bus, not even trying to make a bit. He'll just write a bunch of shit down. Yeah, and then
like pick out little like kernels of shit. Yeah. Like write little like essays.
Which to me, that's like fucking genius.
Yeah.
I came up with that, what I just told you on my own, and then I heard him say that, and I was like, oh, fuck it, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
But you just gotta like use your brain in that way.
Yeah.
Just the same thing with like the freestyling. You're loosening yourself up and kind of allowing yourself to flow, and that's where you can find something. Yeah.
You ever get like writer's block?
Yes, but I think it's like that's when you step away and you come back later. You know, it's just not meant to be. It's like that Zen philosophy. Oh, it's not meant to be right now.
So is your writing process like you'll like, because with comedy, one thing I struggle with is like some people have like a thing where they're like, all right, like today from like 3 to 5, I'm gonna sit down and write. Yeah, I don't do that. My thing is like I'll like be like talking to somebody or like talking to someone on the phone or whatever, and like we'll say like, oh yeah, fucking whatever. Okay, that's kind of funny. Let me write that down. Like it'll just like magically sort of like any good joke I've ever had has just organically popped out of somewhere. When I try to like sit down and like write or like look at like news articles, be like, okay, let me see if I can find something funny. It never works, but like it just naturally happens. But then I hear people who are like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna write from like from like 5 to 7. I'm just gonna sit down and write a few jokes. It's like, oh fuck, dude, I can't do that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I think it becomes a little bit forced. It kind of becomes like a 9 to 5 when you do that.
Yeah.
I can understand. Everybody has a different process too. Like, say you're a dad and you have a whole other fucking life you have to attend to.
Well, yeah,
you can only write jokes at like from 12 to 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
But
I hear Joe Rogan does the same thing.
Exactly.
Like is that what you were?
No. There's a lot of people like that.
Oh, yeah, I know. See, man, I can't even imagine having kids.
Yeah.
You want kids?
I want them, but I'm glad I don't have them yet.
You have any close calls?
No. Thank God. Yeah. I remember there was a girl that I had slept with when I was 15.
Ooh.
And I remember she had a kid about 10 months later.
Oh, yeah. And he was white.
And I still look at photos of that little girl sometimes and think, is that my child?
Oh, man. What, she got to be like, what, 11, 12 now?
Yeah,
That's funny.
dude.
You think it is?
I honestly...
Does this chick know who she is, the mom?
Yeah, if you're watching, chick, please, can I have my kid back?
Say her name? Yeah.
I don't know if I should say it.
That's hilarious.
I know her name. I could say it, but I probably shouldn't.
Don't worry about it.
But like,
she's probably not watching.
She's probably not watching, Alyssa. But anyway,
really, that's hilarious.
It just makes me wonder, dude. Like, because that life is like that. Like, maybe she did get pregnant, but she was like, oh, I don't want to tell. Dude, actually, I think she did text me and say something like she might be, and I think I did text her back and said like, oh, that's not good. I'm pretty sure that's
hilarious.
But I don't. That might be my child out there is what I'm saying. I might be a deadbeat dad.
Yeah. Yeah, my buddy might have a kid in Iowa that he just doesn't see.
I don't want to be. Yeah. I mean, if that is my little girl, dude, it fucking makes me a little sad, but I'm not sure.
I mean, hey, you've skirted by 11 years of child support.
Exactly. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Sheesh. Yeah, the rap money's not going to pay for that.
Yeah. And that's why I say I'm glad I don't have a kid yet, because truly, like, I know what my goals are. I know how much this takes. Like doing an episode every 3 fucking days.
Well, you did 2 today, right?
A day job.
Yeah.
What's that?
We did 2 today, right?
2 today, yeah. Right before you was the Doctor of Laughter.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's like if you want to do that and having a kid, that's a whole fucking other thing. I can't even. I have 2 pets that are basically my children. That's enough.
It reminds you of a. You ever heard the comedian Greg Giraldo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a joke like that where he's like, I hate when people talk about like their pets like they're their kid. It's like first of all, no one ever got a dog because they were too drunk to pull out. Hey, was Dr. Laughter doing his Trump or Bill Clinton impressions?
Oh, you already know.
Oh man,
I was doing them right back at him. I've practiced this one quite a bit. It's actually not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
It took a while because I used to do it like Stewie. I used to do it way up in here like this. But one day I realized you got to get deep in there. You got to feel it. And it's also, there's something musical to it. There's something that's like different about it,
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Thanks, man. But like, there's some people who do it so well, they put me to shame.
Oh yeah. I know this one comedian, David Vox Mullen. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a really good one.
Does he?
He does it on stage sometimes. Yeah.
I love me a good Trump impression. The problem is that it's like the one people whip out now,
Oh yeah, it's the one. Have you seen Shane Gillis do Trump?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's great. The one where he's like on Kill Tony with Biden, like the Dr. Phil dude's playing Biden.
Yeah, Adam Ray.
Yeah.
That shit's great. I think like if you're gonna do impressions, you have to do them real good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If
If
you're
not,
gonna do
then, yeah. Especially like with stand-up comedy too. If people do, like I've seen a bunch of people do a shitty Trump. It's like the worst thing you could do. Like you said, if you're gonna do an impression, it better be amazing.
Yeah.
Because if not, then just don't even fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And you don't want to be like, you don't want to become the impression guy. You really don't, because unless that's what you want.
Unless like you're amazing though.
Yeah.
Like, even like SNL, like what's his name, the black dude,
Jay Farrell.
Yeah, like he's known for doing impressions, but I feel like he's so great at it that it's not even really. It's not necessarily like a bad thing. You know what I mean? But like if you're like in stand up, I don't think you want to be known for impressions.
No,
Yeah.
because like you don't want to get boxed in with anything really.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Because once people know you as that guy, like you have to fight your way out of that.
Even with like certain styles of jokes, like some people like Anthony Jeselnik, he has like that style where like he kind of does like misdirections where like he'll say something and be like, where is this going, and then he takes it like somewhere else. Like people are almost like expecting him to like do that at this point. Well, they are expecting him to do that at this point. So like people will see like, oh, like I watched like two or three of his specials back to back, and it's like, oh, like I can tell like what he was gonna do or whatever. So it's like you can't win, you know, because like you have to. The whole thing about is like developing a style, but then you develop a style and people are like, oh, I don't like he always does the same style, but that's what style is. Like people, you know, the band Rage Against the Machine, like every song kind of sounds like the other songs.
Yeah.
At least that's what some people say. But it's like that's what they sound like. That's you know, I don't know.
I think that's kind of like with Tool. That was their big thing with dropping an album fucking 15 years later, is they wanted it to be distinctive enough from their previous albums, and then they still got shit for it. And people still said, well, it's kind of just a lesser version of their previous albums.
See,
that was what a lot of people
I was gonna say,
came out
because
and
some people think like the opposite. Some people are like, oh, this new album is nothing like a lot of people get like Smashing Pumpkins had some album where it didn't sound like the other ones, and people are like, oh, like this doesn't sound like the Smashing Pumpkins that I know. So it's like you can't win.
No, you can't win. Yeah. And really in the end, it's just about figuring out something that works, right? Like, you know, I think like if you're the impression guy, own it and be the impression guy. If you're the misdirect guy, own it and be the misdirect guy, but don't just fucking dip your toes in halfway.
Right.
And if you really don't want to be known as that, you have to fight not to be that and constantly challenge yourself. It's like you have to make a choice. You can't just be like doing whatever, because then you don't become distinctive enough, you know? And I think like figuring out what you are is a big part of all that shit, a part of making music, a part of comedy. It's like figuring out what you can do that sets you apart from all these other people.
Right.
So you don't want to be a fucking carbon copy of Anthony Jeselnik, or fucking, you don't want to come out and just sound exactly like Shane Gillis, or...
You see a lot of that recently, or, you know, you see a lot of Norm Macdonald.
I bet you do.
Yeah, you know, I was doing this, you know, like, you see a lot of those guys.
Yep.
Where they just literally will talk just like Norm.
And it's like, you know, you can see right through that shit. Really, that's the problem, is a well-versed enough audience. Like, maybe you'll get the casuals, but a well-versed audience is going to see right through it. You go to an open mic.
A lot of guys doing Mark Norman recently.
I bet.
Where they're doing like, yeah, you know, I was doing this. Oh, yeah, why is this like this? That's really like this. You know, like he has like that. All his jokes are kind of like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, which is fine. If it's funny, it's funny. But yeah, I've seen on Instagram, I was like, this guy, and then I'll look in the comments and it'll be like, oh, this guy's just doing normal. Like, okay, it's not just me who's thinking this. Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, but you see the same thing in music. People will sound exactly like other artists. I get that shit a lot. People will compare me to Kendrick all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I take it as a compliment.
Oh, dude. I mean, that's, yeah.
Thank God, like they're not comparing me to fucking Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
Kendrick. I'll take that.
I'll take
Soulja
Chief
Boy. I'll
Keef.
have you on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, dude, yeah. Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy, tell him. Get up out of bed. Dude, I'll be Soulja Boy. I'll be Soulja Boy. Fuck it, you know?
You ever heard of the band Greta Van Fleet?
Yes.
So, like, you know how they just like ripped off Zeppelin?
Yep.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
They are basically...
They literally are a Led Zeppelin cover band at this point, yeah.
But, you know, at least they're making original songs. Like, at least...
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. But, like... And then they asked them about that song, and they're like, oh, like, they're not even one of our influences. Like, how the fuck can you...
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, they should fucking shoot that guy. I don't know.
They're just trying to... They're trying not to get sued by Robert Plant's fucking
Yeah, well,
estate.
that's true, yeah. Well, he's still alive.
Well, there you go, yeah. They're
Damn.
trying to play
His
to that.
estate? You just assumed he was dead?
Yeah, I
he's
just
still
assumed.
alive.
Yeah.
They're all still alive other than the drummer.
Really? They still tour?
Oh, no.
Oh,
well, they stopped as a band once the drummer died.
Oh.
John Bonham. Yeah, 1980.
Oh, right.
He's
right.
considered like the best drummer of all time by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't... I remember when they got popular and I was hearing a whole, because they were actually from, when I was in a band right around that time in Flint, Michigan, which is not far from where they
So where were you playing in a band? Singing?
Yeah.
Nice.
That taught me a lot, dude, because before that I was only doing hip hop, and the band was kind of like an indie rock type thing. And so it kind of gave me a whole different thing to do. And some of those songs are still like some of my favorite songs I ever made. But it's called Lemon Collies. And I just remember being in that band, and like the members of that band were like pissed off by them because of that. They were from like the neighborhood, probably 30 minutes away from us.
Oh, yeah, they're from Michigan, yeah.
And they're getting so popular, and they're fucking basically just Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm torn because it's like, well, there isn't much classic rock sounding music that's made now.
It's like you would just at least wish they kind of like made their own thing. Because like
I
literally,
thought they would break out of that. I thought they were going to do that for a while, and then they would find their own thing. And that never really seemed to happen.
Like that one famous song they got, it literally sounds like a Led Zeppelin song. I forget what it's called. Highway Tune?
Yeah.
Like that song, like, you know how
even
it goes,
the fucking title sounds like a Led Zeppelin song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like to the point, it's too uncanny because it's the vocals, it's the guitar riffs, it's everything.
Yeah. Like people say the White Stripes or Jack White sounds like Zeppelin, but he just you could tell he's influenced by it. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not. He's not just doing Zeppelin.
Yup.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's even like Cage the Elephant. They have a bunch of songs. Are you familiar with them at all?
Yeah. I remember their first album was. I remember that's the great album.
Yeah.
Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
Oh, dude.
Back Against the Wall, or like yeah. That's
Back
great.
Against the Wall.
What is it called? One Eye Open, or like there's another one. Oh man.
One way or one. I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. I wish I could think of it. That
in one ear and out. In one ear and out the other. Yeah. That's a good.
One ear, right out another. People talking shit, but I don't even bother. It goes. They are really cool because they are like. It's like punk rock energy, really, but it's like in a more digestible format. But you could take a lot of their stuff from not that album, but the next one with like Cigarette Daydreams and all those songs. And the lead singer will even say like he was listening to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins and stuff like that at the time, and you can hear it. Like if you were to listen to that and then you were to listen to the stuff he was listening to, you can hear it. But they're still being original enough.
Yeah, of course.
So and that's really, again, it's like the same thing with anything. It's finding that. I can't even blame people when they start out and they sound exactly like something
Comedians
else.
is like that. Like every comedian will start off and like they're doing somebody else.
Because like, of course you are. Like that's what you saw and that's what you resonate with. So of course you're trying that
But then
out.
the whole thing is to try to break out of that and like find your own style / voice, or like, you know.
Yeah, and that's where the vice is. That's where the bad shit is.
Yeah.
Because if you don't break out of that, then it's like, oh my God, like, bro, you've been doing this shit for 4 years.
Yeah.
You are not Norm Macdonald.
Yeah. You're not Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah. I know that you want to be, but you will never be. To the point where it's almost sad to me that they're trying so fucking hard to be that, you know, because they're not challenging themselves and being creative and embracing whatever it is that they've got. They're just trying to be something else, you know? And like with music, you see it so fucking much. You'll see people who are just it gives rap a bad rep because the people who are like lyrical rappers, they're just trying to do the lyrical rapper thing, and they just fucking rhyme to rhyme, and they sound like a bad Eminem song every fucking time. And it's like, dude, can't you see that you're just not being creative?
When you say lyrical rap, like, are you talking like? What do you think of like
spiritual lyrical miracles?
What do you think of like Logic or like Joyner Lucas or people like that? I don't even know who those people are. I just know people hate on them a lot.
People hate on them. I think that they've got their own lane, and I think that they like. There's a bunch of Logic songs I like a lot. There's a bunch of Logic songs that I actually really like, and I think like Logic's a really great dude. But I think that he's got a freestyle flow to the point where it's like I love him, but it's almost like he'll just say whatever the fuck, and his flow is just kind of like running around the beat, whereas like it's not as like someone like Kendrick is so fucking intricate and everything counts, whereas someone like Logic will just kind of, it's almost like 90s rap where it's just like having fun with it. So it doesn't really challenge me, and that's why it doesn't resonate with me a lot of the time. But it doesn't fucking have to. There's people who like that, and good for them. Same thing with Joyner Lucas. Like, and again, I like a lot of their songs at the same time. Some of their songs really stick out to me, but then other ones of their songs, I'm just like, okay, like, what are we doing here, you know? But it's just, it's different strokes for different folks. Like, you know, you can't, with music in particular especially, it is so subjective that you can't really hate on a lot of shit.
No, that's true.
You really can't. If you do, you just come off as fucking someone who doesn't understand it, because that's probably what you are. A lot of street rap, I think a lot of street rap fucking sucks. Like, it's terrible. Like, dude, it is the most boring, unenlightening shit I have ever heard. But it's because I'm not listening for that. I'm listening for something that's completely different than that, and that's just what I like. I like shit like Nas and Eminem and Tupac and Biggie Smalls and fucking, like, the golden age of hip-hop.
What do you think, Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Same.
I think Biggie.
Same, 100%. I don't think for me, it's not even close.
Yeah, I
And what
agree.
pisses me off, too, is I think Tupac was a little bit like of an actor. Like, you've seen those videos of him when he's young, he's talking all like, you know.
Controversial opinion, but I can see what you're saying.
Well, no, but because he was like, he went to like art school and shit, dude. And then he like, that's what I mean. That's like at least the conspiracy is that he sort of like he sold the the gangster thing to sort of like to become a little bit more like hard or whatever. Whereas like Biggie actually like it's like he grew up selling crack.
I believe it.
Yeah. Whereas like Tupac, you seen that video I'm talking about? Where he's like there's like a video of him like 14 years old. He's talking all like. I don't, whatever. Like
he had a
like
different dialect.
Very flamboyant the way he sounded. Like it was just before.
Fucking gay.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. But like, and like the whole gangster thing was like a little bit of an act.
It'd be like before he was talking like this, he would be like talking like this.
Yeah, he was talking. It's like,
how do
yeah,
I
you know,
define it?
like I'm just really into Maya Angelou and shit. Like he's
Really?
talking. He's talking all like, I don't know. I'm just saying. I like authenticity.
Yeah.
In people. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, is he just fucking putting it on the whole time?
Who knows? Because maybe he did have like some experience that
Some
changed
renaissance.
him.
He just became like a.
Yeah. Who knows? Because I mean, somebody like Tupac too. Like, I just like for me, Tupac's flow never really resonated with me. That's kind of what Tupac has a whole kind of like he has a really unique flow that I can't really get into. And Biggie is fucking like Biggie's flow is timeless. Like, Biggie's flow you could hear today on a track today and it would still work.
I love some song. Like I love the song "Party and Bullshit." That's my favorite song.
Yeah,
I love that song.
Is it Crack Rock Chronicles or something like that? It's like a song telling you how to sell crack. Dude, Biggie Smalls the shit, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like going back to the rap thing, there's some shit that I like and there's some shit that I don't, and that's totally fine. Not everything is for everybody, you know? Even like in comedy, there's clean comedy, and some people love clean comedy, and that's all they want to hear. They don't want to hear all this dirty
Bargatze
shit.
or somebody like that.
Yeah, they love that.
I think Harland Williams is pretty clean, no?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
I think he curses a decent amount, actually.
Oh, okay, never mind. I could have sworn. Never
But
mind.
he seems like somebody who would be clean.
Yeah.
And then he drops an F-bomb, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That thing where Santino was squirting with the lotion, that was hilarious.
Definitely not clean.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't clean. Just I think they were making jizz jokes while that was going on.
Yeah.
They had to have been making jizz jokes. I mean, you can't squirt on another man's face.
Dude, how long have we been going for? It's 7:16.
Is it really 7:16?
Yeah.
Oh, if you're making it to Red Room, then I guess we could
Yeah.
wrap
I mean,
this
I
up.
don't want to be that guy, but
Oh man, you're good. This was a nice long one. So.
how long have we been going? Like two
and a half hours.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I did one with somebody else. You know who Wild Phil is? Wild Phil Lasecki.
Oh, yes. His name on Instagram or wherever is Philosophy or something.
Wild Philosophy. That's the
Yeah.
name of his podcast. Yeah, me, him, and my buddy Alan did like a 4-hour one.
Holy shit.
Yeah, talking about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Just talking about like bands and different shit. It was pretty boring. I listened to it once. I was like, this last hour is just it didn't need to happen. We're just talking about like what our favorite '90s rock songs are and shit. It was worthless. I mean, because of me, not because of him.
There's someone out there who loves 90s rock.
Maybe, dude.
Who would love that last
Maybe.
hour. And they're so happy you did it.
Yeah.
I think one thing that podcasts are cool for too, dude, is that you don't know what people are going to get out of anything. You don't know
That's true.
what the what the side effects of what you say and do are. And that's like the beauty of every decision you ever make in life. That's why I love doing these, because we could have a whole conversation about whatever the fuck we talk about, and then maybe that's how someone else finds out about your comedy. Maybe that's how someone who knows you finds out about my music. Or maybe it was one random fucking thing we said in the middle of this conversation where like they had an epiphany.
They go watch that video of Tupac talking all gay, and they throw away their California album or whatever it's called.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
Yes. So shit like that, and that's why I like doing it this way, because you know you never really know. You just gotta yes and everything in life.
All the city people that Joe Rogan got into hunting. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Like, I know people who are like, yeah, I do archery now. I'm like, bro, you know, like you do archery. We used to fucking like smoke blunts together a couple years ago. Now you have a fucking target in your backyard. Yeah.
That's a good one. And Joe Rogan's not going out there telling everybody go do archery. It's just happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But Phil, I'm gonna hit him up too, because he's been doing that show for a minute. I was gonna ask him when you said that. I saw you were on a couple different episodes of his, weren't you?
I was like a guest on a couple.
Okay,
so
yeah.
He did one with James Najjar. I was a guest on that, like a guest co-host with him.
Yeah.
And then he did one with David Vox Mullen, the guy I was telling you about, who does the Trump impressions.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been on. Yeah, I think those two, and then I was like an actual guest with me and my buddy Alan Salazar, who's
Nice.
going to be on here.
Yes.
Who I run the podcast with 11 p.m. or 11:30 Tuesday nights.
Open mic. You were on the open mic.
Oh fucking
with.
Christ! Yeah. Open mic.
And,
I'm tired. We've been here forever.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Next time you're on here, I'll ask you more about that open mic. But yes, you let the people know about it. It is on Tuesdays, 11:30. Where? Tell them again.
Claddagh Ring Pub.
All right.
Foster and Western.
And if they're looking for that, it's right next to. It's next to Andersonville. Is it a different neighborhood though?
Oh man, what the fuck is the neighborhood? Lincoln Center? I don't know. It's Foster and Western. It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's at End the Night open mic
On Instagram. Yeah.
Or follow me at the Brian Miklas, Miklas.
Boom.
Yes.
And then any final message you want to send them home with? Any moral of the story? Something to tell the kids at home? You got anything good for them?
Don't let anybody tell you that you're too old or it's too late to do anything. Just fucking do whatever you feel like doing, because they're all gonna fucking die one day. Go smoke your cigarettes, drink, do whatever the fuck. Who cares? We're all gonna be fucking dead. Who cares? If you do have lung cancer one day, you could just shoot yourself in the head. You actually got to sit there and rot away. That's one thing I would never do. If I was like, I'm going on this whole thing. Yeah. Just live your fucking life, you guys.
I have a song called Optimus Nihilist, and the hook of the song goes, there ain't nothing left to do, everything absurd. There ain't nothing left to say that you ain't already heard. There ain't nothing left to fail, everything a blur. There ain't nothing left to lose, so let's hit 'em where it hurts. And that's the idea.
Hell yeah.
Right? Is if there's nothing left, if everything's already been done, then who gives a fuck, dude?
Who gives a fuck?
Just go do it, folks.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
dear God, go do it. That's the moral of the story. That's what Ruse is always saying. I got professional mind blower t-shirts, and I tell everybody, you, my friend, are a professional mind blower. You just got to figure out how you blow them damn minds. All right, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. You stuck around this long. You must be a crazy person just like us. Ruse Radio. Clocking out.
Been too long, I don't think I could face it. In the corner with my mask on. What's the story? It did do no good to